Say that again.
I will come on that mic.
All right, bet. What's up, guys? Welcome to
welcome to a new episode of Unscripted with Kris and Luke. How's it going, everybody?
Yeah, fired from the producers just told us Luke's fired.
Finally.
Damn it! I
don't have to worry about this shit anymore.
I was gonna pour my drink before we started.
You pause it and go
No, I'm gonna do it as we go.
You were the worst kind of person.
I am not the worst kind of person.
He has the list. I don't know what to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
How's everybody doing? It's been a while since we've done an episode of this. We've had an excitedly
Horrible.
busy, horrible, and boring last couple months of the year. But on the bright side, 2020's over, and we have 2021, which will likely be no better to look forward to.
Listen, if you're listening to this, you made it.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations on surviving what is probably... You know, I'm not old. I'm 26. I'm the oldest person in the group here tonight. I'm 26, and this is probably one of the two worst years that I've been through. This year and 2016 were pretty lame. Mm-hmm. But with us tonight, we have a special guest star. We have a buddy of ours, William Geiger. Why don't you introduce yourself, man?
Hi, I'm William Geiger. I'm a fellow student with Kris and Luke. I'm not used to being on a podcast, so I'm kind of...
Yeah, no one is until they do it, buddy.
Yeah,
believe me. We recorded like 3 different podcasts before we were finally just like, okay, that one we can put out. Yeah. We have like 2 or 3 podcasts that no one will ever see.
It's like and subscribe if you want to see those.
No. You can like and subscribe all you want, you'll never see those. Yeah. Here in 5 years when you set up a Patreon, if you subscribe to the $3,000 a month Patreon, $3,000 hook you up.
Just to fund our films.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and let you guys know that at the end of this video, we are going to be doing a review on Tenet. And then after that review, we are going to be... we'll talk about the fact that we are going to be doing a giveaway for a digital copy of Tenet. So, if you would like to be entered into that giveaway, go ahead and like the video and comment, and then we will select a winner, and we will reach out to that winner.
At random.
Yes, at random. We will reach out to you, and we will get you your code. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, let's get down to business.
All right, so 2020 has been a very, very divisive year for a lot of people. Horrible for most.
Yeah.
Part of the reason we weren't able to do the podcast for a couple of months is 2020 happened. We had a lot on our plate. We're both in college, and...
Yeah.
And we were both having to try and maintain jobs that we could, and trying to find new jobs.
I was trying to find a job, which I finally found one. I'm working as a cook in a country club now, making fancy food for rich old white folks.
Oh, you are.
All right.
Yeah. Did I tell you about that?
No, you didn't.
Oh yeah, I got a job at where he used to work at the
Oh, okay.
You know what are they gonna do?
Yeah, right. Yeah. My old manager Jim's just listening to this like, I knew it.
Yeah, I knew this motherfucker was.
He cussed at me. He wasn't at work. Did you drink outside off the clock?
You've consumed alcohol in your life? Write him up.
Fired.
Yeah.
That's 10 cents off your next paycheck.
Oh my god. At that point, I'd be like, just fire me. If I have a 10-cent deduction for my next paycheck for that, I am going to run through the halls during like a packed hour just screaming curse words.
Straight naked.
Balls out. Oh yeah.
Balls out for the homies.
I'll let Loch Nessie meet the fucking members. I don't care, dude. Anyway.
So we're going to start this one off with our best of and worst of 2020. So we're going to start with the best of 2020. It's a 5 list. We do have some honorable mentions.
This is in no particular order. It's not like it's not like a top 5 countdown. This is just 5 things that we liked about the year and 5 things that we definitely didn't like.
And there are some honorable mentions.
There are honorable mentions, yes.
In the best of the year honorable mention is The Last of Us Part 2.
Yes.
We reviewed that on the podcast. If you want to check that out, you can either watch the original episode that it was a part of, or you can watch the review by itself on the rest of the channel.
Yes.
Without further ado, the first thing on the list of the best of 2020 is The Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian. Okay, of course, it didn't start this year. It was just season 2 this year. And I'll be the first to admit that in 2019, when The Mandalorian started, I watched like the first 3 episodes, and that's about it. And I'll be honest, I didn't even watch them then. It was when the shutdown first happened, like in like March, and I was like, yeah, I'll check out The Mandalorian. I watched 3 episodes, and I was like, that was cool, and then never watched it again. But then earlier this year, the 3 of us hung out, and we watched all of season 1 and the little bit of season 2 that was out at that time, and then we've been watching it since.
Yeah,
and so we are behind a couple of episodes. The holiday season came. We had a lot of we said, a lot of we didn't get to a lot of the things that we wanted to. We're I think 3 episodes behind, but we do know.
I think so. But Geiger has seen it all. So,
I've seen it all,
and we've seen the main spoilers, so we're free to talk about all of it. So
now, please, when you talk, please lean forward.
Yeah.
So you'll be the same level of the rest of us. Do you want to sit on the floor with us?
I don't know if I can fit down there.
Yeah, very unprofessional setup here.
Yeah.
So
we are a very relaxed podcast.
So the thing about like The Mandalorian that I think is like I've experienced all of it this year, so I could put it in my top of 2020. I am convinced that it's hard for Pedro Pascal to be bad.
Yeah.
Like, I've also, this is a side note, Wonder Woman 1984, he's the villain in that movie. And I would say he was the best part. His character was kind of lame. Like, you've seen it, right?
I've seen it.
His character was kind of lame. But, I mean, he did a good job. Like, he portrayed the character well. It's just, I blame the writing and not Pedro Pascal. Well, if you haven't seen Wonder Woman 84, not that great.
Yeah,
it is an average film. It's still better than Batman vs Superman. I feel like it's definitely better than Suicide Squad.
It's better than...
Oh god, dude! My used wet look.
It is better than Justice League.
A used wet napkin is better than Suicide Squad,
dude. That movie was
garbage.
Not good. I watched that movie in theaters.
I paid money to see it
on launch day.
Same.
On launch day?
Yeah. The day it came out.
Yeah.
I did that too. I regret my decision.
I paid money to see that movie, yeah.
Hate to hear that, but...
Oh, dude.
Somehow
you were there. You were in the same boat together, all 3 of us.
Somehow it's won an Oscar.
for hair and makeup?
However...
But the thing is like... Star Trek Beyond was also up for that Oscar. Yeah. How Star Trek Beyond didn't win, I'll never know.
Fun fact, though, the guy that won the hair and makeup at the Oscars for Suicide Squad was one of the 2 cops in the Friday 13th, in the Halloween reboot.
Really?
Soft reboot, yeah. The one that brought the
2018
brownies.
Halloween?
The guy that brought the brownies.
I made this myself.
That was the guy. That's the guy.
That's all. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Fun fact.
Yeah, Mandalorian, super cool show. Wonderful performances around the block.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
What was it? It was pretty sure season 2 episode that had like Clancy Brown in it.
Yeah.
And Clancy Brown, I feel he always
it was season 1.
That was season 1?
Season 1, the heist.
Yeah,
the heist.
Yeah.
Heist
I feel like that dude always brings his A game. I like Clancy Brown a lot.
And the biggest thing, season 2 of Mandalorian, Ahsoka Tano. Dude.
I was bummed because like I didn't watch. We didn't watch the episode when it came out. We watched it a couple days later. So fuck me, I got spoiled on it.
Yeah. But
seeing her live action whipping ass, I was like, dude, this is fire. This is cool.
It's so great to have seen her because it's like from childhood, watching from like where she began to like now. It's just like it was so great as a fan. Because we start off with her in, like, that terrible Clone Wars movie that I still don't...
How did they get a great show out of that horrible movie?
Exactly.
Which, speaking of it, that came out this year, too. And it did. It was 2020 is when that came out. It was right before lockdown. Because we talked about it on the film sets together. Because I was talking to you about the Clone Wars Season 7.
Season 7.
God, dude. I mean, we didn't even talk about that.
I'll have to admit, I haven't seen the Clone Wars show. I've seen like a couple episodes, specifically the episodes with Darth Maul in it.
Yeah.
Because like I hadn't watched it, and then I heard Darth Maul's coming back, and I was like, oh well, I have to watch it now. And I didn't go back and rewatch. I just watched the episodes with Darth Maul, and that's all I've seen. So I definitely do not know or like Ahsoka Tano on a level that you guys do. But she's super cool, and seeing her beat ass in The Mandalorian was awesome.
Rosario Dawson?
Yes,
right?
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah. She killed it.
Yeah.
And
did a great job.
Just that episode in general, though, the references to those old school samurai films.
Yeah.
Kurosawa, Kurosawa.
It's so cool. So cool.
You guys, when we finish, we need to watch the behind the scenes documentary for the
I forgot that they did that. Yeah.
There's a shot in it of George Lucas talking to Rosario Dawson in full makeup, and
that's so cool.
That right there would bring like joy to my heart just to see that.
It's like I love the behind the scenes clip of George Lucas talking to Samuel L. Jackson about the lightsaber color.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, good guys get green or blue, and bad guys get red. That's how it works. He's like, so like a purple, and he just goes, I could do that. And then it was like months later on set, he was like, hey, I got your lightsaber for you. And he gives it to him, and it's a purple lightsaber. And there's an interview where they're talking about it. And the guy I don't remember who was interviewing them. It was like one of those shows where like the first guest you interview doesn't leave. They stay there the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And it was, Samuel L. Jackson was the second guest. So the first guest was still there. And the guy that was interviewing them pulled out the purple lightsaber and gave it to Samuel L. Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other person, it was a female actress. I don't remember female actress. Whatever. It was an actress. I don't remember who it was. But she was
film?
Huh?
In which film?
This is an interview I'm talking about. And she was talking about how her son like loves Star Wars movies but doesn't have a lightsaber, he's going to wreak havoc with it. And so Samuel L. Jackson just goes, oh, well, he doesn't have a lightsaber? He's like, well, no, he's got a purple one. And he gives it to her. And she's like, are you kidding? Are you sure? He's like, yeah, I got the real one at home that says bad motherfucker on it. Which is true. His lightsaber says bad motherfucker on it.
Are you? Who are you talking
about?
No,
she wasn't. It was someone else.
She
was like unrelated to Star Wars.
She wouldn't let her kids watch Star Wars.
Because kids? Like,
I
don't know anything about her life.
She said in an interview she wouldn't let her kids watch Star Wars because seeing their when they were young, like other kids when they're like 5 or 6 are watching Star Wars, she wouldn't let them because she dies.
We watched the original trilogy.
Yeah, I would get in on that, but she was like, I can't let them watch the new stuff, which at the time that was the new stuff because she didn't want her kids to see her die. Yeah, so
that's fair enough. Yeah, I mean,
I was watching a master class. I'm doing a master class right now with Natalie Portman talking about acting and stuff. So.
Cool. Mm-hmm. So The Mandalorian, really good.
Cool.
Really good.
The best constant for Mandalorian for me is because like every episode is different. Every episode has a different director usually.
Yeah.
But the best constant is always the
concept art.
The concept art at the end of every episode.
Yes.
It's such a great reason to stay through all the credits and just for that.
Have you seen the interview where Pedro Pascal talks about how he got the job?
I don't think
I saw a thing where he broke down his most iconic roles and he talks about Mandalorian. I don't remember if that's the one where he talks about how he got the job.
So he talks about how like he got a call from one of the producers. They wanted to come in and audition.
Yeah.
And he comes in, and he was talking to Dave Filoni, and he walks in. No, he was talking to Jon Favreau, and he walks in, and the room they're in is lined wall to wall with this concept art.
Oh.
And he's looking around, and he's like, "Well, who do you want me to play? Do you want me to play the hitman, the giant slug? You want me to voice the droid?" And Jon Favreau goes, "Pedro, you're the Mandalorian." He just goes, "Me?"
Dude, Pedro Pascal's such a cool fucking
He's
man.
awesome.
I
was actually kind of hyped in like the finale for season 1 when the robot takes his helmet off and he's just like, I was like, my man,
dude. Well, he's been and another great series with Pedro Pascal is Narcos. Man, he kills it.
Narcos is good.
Narcos.
Yeah, of course, the one season of Game of Thrones he was in.
Yeah. Yep. You could break down a lot of his iconic roles. Yeah. His 3 most iconic for me, at least, would be obviously Narcos, Game of Thrones, and The Mandalorian. Being like the
as far as like how iconic it is, I would go Mandalorian, Game of Thrones, Narcos.
I wasn't doing that in a
okay.
I think Mandalorian is obviously that's his bread and butter,
Yeah.
And we're getting a season 3. So
we are.
One more thing I got spoiled about The Mandalorian is the Boba Fett TV show that'll be coming out.
Well, it's not really a Mandalorian spoiler. That's just something they announced. But yeah, we are getting.
They announced it in the last episode of the Mandalorian. Yeah, is what it was like at the end of the episode.
But that's cool.
It's an after tease.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be watching that. Like absolutely.
It's only the thing that fans have been clamoring for 40 years now.
Right? Yeah. Is it gonna be like? As far as like time wise goes, the same time as Mandalorian is going to be before it.
He took over Jabba's palace.
Well, I wasn't.
The spoiler that I heard about it was, Jabba Jabba the Hutt died in Return of the Jedi. The guy that was like his right hand man.
Bib Fortuna.
He's like the pink dude that has like the he took over the palace and then basically. Boba Fett kills him and takes over the palace.
Hell yeah.
I saw jokes about it turning into a casino. Boba Fett running a casino there.
Oh, that'd be...
I'd
watch it. Fuck.
Mm-hmm. So, I can't wait. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see Luke Skywalker come back.
I can't wait.
It's going to be great.
I fucking love Luke Skywalker. Have y'all heard the rumors? I cannot think of his name. Sebastian Stan?
Yes. Yeah.
You know the rumors that he might be getting the role of Luke Skywalker?
I don't know how I really feel about that.
I feel like he looks the part enough. And it's not perfect, but it's like I can see it.
With some makeup, maybe some with a professional costume and makeup designer, and he's a good actor, so he could probably pull off the part.
I've honestly that I can think of, I've only seen him in the role as Winter Soldier. Yeah. But, I mean, I liked him. Winter Soldier, the movie Winter Soldier, Captain America 2, he was awesome, and he did a great job. But
it's one of my favorite MCU films.
It's a great movie.
Really yeah, it's really good.
So we've been talking about the number one on our 5.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Rhythm of War. That's more one that you want to throw in here. I don't know as much about that. But go ahead.
So my favorite book series is the Stormlight Archive.
Oh yeah.
And it is not finished. It's still being written. It's not even halfway done. Book 4 came out November 17th, and I got it on Audible because I listen to audiobooks. I don't really have the time to sit down and read. But I finished Rhythm of War, which is like a 56, if not more, hour audiobook. I finished that in less than a week. Came out on a Tuesday. I think I finished it the following Monday. And that book... After reading Oathbringer, which was book 3 of the Stormlight Archive, I was just like Brandon Sanderson will never write a book better than this. This is like unbeatable. And then I read Rhythm of War and I was just like, damn, the crazy son of a bitch did it. He actually topped Oathbringer in one book. He didn't even have to practice. It was just the next book was better. Really good book. Not going to get too deep into it, but there was a lot of going into it, there was a lot of things that I wanted to see in this book that I wasn't sure if they were going to happen. Mm-hmm. And every single one of them happened. There's two characters, one named Vinley and one named Relaine. Mm-hmm. And they are the last two, they think they are the last two of their race. They don't know about each other. They both think they're the last period of their race. And I was like, I'm excited to see them meet so that they can have this moment where it's like, oh, I'm not alone anymore, and you're here. And they can have that,
moment
confrontation with each other, where they come to terms with the fact that they're not alone anymore. That happens. And then, spoiler alert, later on in the book, you find out that there's actually a couple hundred of them left. It's really good. If you don't know about the Stormlight Archive, what I'm about to say will mean absolutely nothing to you. But Kaladin, the main character, swears the fourth ideal of the Knights Radiant and gets his shard plate, and that is a huge deal.
Sounds badass.
The scene where it happens is very touching, and there's one all of the Stormlight Archive books are split into 5 parts, and I believe it's Part 3 in Rhythm of War, where instead of it being Kaladin, same thing happened in Book 3. Book 3, Part 3, Part 3, instead of it being Kaladin's point of view, it's Bridge 4's point of view, which Bridge 4 is Kaladin and his like group of friends that he had when he first came to the area they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of it being his point of view, it's their point of view. We learn more about them, and they all interact with Kaladin in their chapters, so we still get his story through that. But there is a character named David in Bridge 4 who we'd never really learn enough about. He's a mute. And then he has a chapter in book 4 that's his point of view.
You told me about this.
And he talks about, and like you learned that like he's not mute. He's just like, he was born with his umbilical cord wrapped around his throat. And so he's like mentally not all there.
Yeah.
And he hates when people call him stupid because stupidity means that you're a mistake, and he doesn't see himself as a mistake. And there's this whole moment where you find out that like David wants to be a Knight Radiant so bad because becoming a Knight Radiant means that the Stormlight will like fix his mind and make him normal. And you find out that the reason he pretended to be a mute is because Bridge 4 accepted him for who he was, and he didn't want to talk around them because then they would realize that he's slow and it might change their opinion of him. And that chapter was probably the biggest tearjerker I've ever read in a book. I was sitting there like in my car on the drive back from Birmingham, just like biting my knuckle to keep from crying. I was just like, my man David in here. He in here doing it. He living. Dude, I was so touching. Great book. Wonderful book. And I guess that's really all I have to say about it. Well, that book made the entire year worth living through.
I was just going to say, I mean, thanks to you, I've actually read more, because you got me on Audible this year, at the beginning of the year, or late last year, but I really wasn't able to start until this year. I've read more books through Audible this year than in the past couple of years. Biggest one that I wanted to make sure I got through, because the movie was supposed to come out this year.
I
read Dune.
Dune, yeah.
And we talked about it on the podcast, and how I was like, yeah, the movie's coming out, we're excited for it, and then it got delayed.
Pushed back to, is it October or December?
October.
It's October.
God, for now.
Dude.
But hey, at least we got the trailer finally, which was dope.
Yeah, it's a really good trailer.
We actually got the trailer at Tenet, which is when we got it.
You get a sneak peek at the
Yeah.
It was a sneak peek.
You're right. But,
great trailer.
No, I read that. I read 1984. I finally read Fahrenheit 451, and then we watched the movie and reviewed it. And you can find that on the podcast video. So 2020 was a good year for me as far as reading books go. So Audible doesn't sponsor us, but if they want to, please hit us up.
Yeah, for real.
The next one on the list is Ghost of Tsushima. Again, one that you...
Oh, damn, this is back-to-back me.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima is, in my opinion, hands down the best video game that came out this year. That game is awesome. The gameplay is out of this world. The story is not, like, exceptional, I'll be honest, but, like, you can not break boundaries in storytelling and still have an incredible story. And the story was good. The characters are awesome. But the best thing about this game is the environment. It is so colorful and so beautiful. It is out of this world. It is... You know, every console ever gets its swan song game. Every console ever has had the swan song game. Ghost of Tsushima was the PS4's swan song, and it is the best swan song ever.
Swan Song is the company? Or
no, Swan Song is like the last hurrah.
Oh,
it's like, this is our last big thing before we move on to our next console.
Okay.
And Ghost of Tsushima was the PS4's swan song, and it was out of this world. And I know, I'm going to say this, and I know before I say it that I'm about to make myself sound like a fool, and it's going to sound cliche. But Ghost of Tsushima makes you feel like a fucking samurai.
It does.
It is incredible. Like,
is that the one where you can cut the bamboo?
Yeah,
so we're trying to cut
which was like my favorite part of the gameplay was finding the bamboo thing and doing the button and the like the button press combos to cut through the bamboo. Dude, oh god, that was so fun. Great game, dude. Great game. Which they've recently added multiplayer, and I haven't dived into the multiplayer yet. I've been meaning to, but I've heard it's really cool. It's like a class-based system almost. I've heard it's awesome.
I finally got a PS4 this year.
Yeah.
Well, I had one a couple of years ago, but I had to sell it for because I was a broke boy. But I got one this year. Bought myself one because I'm a self-made man.
It was a man.
But it was nice to finally get to play some of the games. I got to play Cyberpunk. I'm playing that one now. I got to play some of the new games that came out. I have Last of Us Part 2.
Cyberpunk's. Yeah, we'll talk about that later on, though.
Oh, yeah.
And so the next on the list of the best of the year, and again, these are in no particular order, because if they were, this for me would be number one on the list. Hamilton came out. Hamilton was released on Disney Plus this year. And my fucking god, dude, you know how we feel about it. We talked about it on the podcast. Yeah. But let me just go ahead and correct myself. I should have corrected myself months ago, but it was never really relevant to talk about. When we did the review, I had only seen Hamilton once, and I made a comment that I liked.
Oh yeah.
The comment I made was, I like how it doesn't always end in the cliche way where they're like in the middle and it like centers on the center stage and one of the characters in the very middle pointing up to the sky or something like that. And then it happened like 8 times when we rewatched it. I was like, oh, apparently didn't know what I was talking about. So. But I've seen it at least 3 or 4 times since then, and still holds up. Every time I watch it, I still tear up at certain points in the show. I find myself anytime I drive a lot and I have to go on long car rides and 4 or 5 hours at a time, and it's really not. It has been pretty easy lately because at least 2 hours and 30 minutes of it is eaten up with me listening to the Hamilton soundtrack. It does mean I'm going to be hoarse for the entire time that I'm gone. But every time it's Quiet Uptown, that one hits. One Last Time gets me teared up every time I hear it.
It's a good one.
That's good.
Just such a great show.
Lin-Manuel Miranda did not decide he was going to sit down and fuck around.
In a year filled with a lot of things that tore us apart, I think Hamilton was one of those things that everybody watched and got something great out of, and it brought a lot of people together, and it was, oh yeah, go for it. You can just ask, bro. I've got it all right here. Just grab a glass. You want one too?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, I will have
one. You want one? Just grab 2 glasses, yeah. I got Crown and Coke and it's a Crown Vanilla. But no, in a year filled with a lot of divisiveness, I think Hamilton was one of those things that, like, I haven't met anybody who's seen it that did not enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Some people think it might be better or worse than others, but it's one of those things that, like, it really was a bright spot in 2020, and I could not put this list together without Hamilton being a major part of it. Do you guys have anything you want to say about it? I know we've all seen it, so.
Not much. I mean, it was incredible. Songs incredible. Choreography incredible. It's just something that I think 2020 needed.
Big time.
And I'm glad that we got it.
And speaking of something that 2020 needed, we're not going to talk too much on this last topic on the best of because we're going to review it later. But one of the things 2020 needed was a blockbuster movie, man. And we got it. Tenet gave us a blockbuster movie.
Thank God.
Yeah.
It single-handedly is keeping. It was single-handedly keeping the theater industry afloat. It did not perform as well as it needed to make its money back, but I don't think it was going to in 2020.
I don't think anybody expected that to happen.
Yeah.
It's a bummer that it didn't happen, but I mean,
if it wasn't 2020, if it was 2019, I think it would have.
If it was 2019, it would have been
huge.
It would have made
been
a lot of money.
So don't feel bad about that, Christopher Nolan. Don't worry.
On the $1 billion.
I think. I'll need to see what its digital and disc sales are.
Yeah. It's probably a lot bigger.
Mm-hmm. Than it would be otherwise.
You hope.
I hope so, man. Or rental sales something. But Tenet is up there. Again, not gonna get too far into it.
Mm-hmm.
So for best of, we have Mandalorian, Rhythm of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Hamilton, Tenet, and honorable mention, The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Now worst of. Dishonorable mention.
Real quick, we'll give the dishonorable mention. It is
The Last of Us Part 2. When we first played the game, going through it for the first time, it was really fun. And it was really good. But it does not have a lot of replay value.
It really doesn't. They tried to make the replay value more... they tried to like up the replay value by like giving moments moments in the game that are hard to find your first playthrough. So like as you explore more, you get more moments with the characters. And in my opinion, I was just like, that's kind of dumb. Just give us these moments with the characters if we need it.
Yep.
And my biggest complaint about the game, I'm pretty sure I said it on our first review, and I'll say it again now. You can only... how many times in one game can I find a locked door, take 5 steps in a direction, crawl under, or climb over a wall, and then unlock the door? Come on!
Let's not dwell... I think we talked about this in the review. Let's not dwell on it too much. One more dishonorable mention for the year 2020. Harvey Weinstein lived. And made it through.
Somehow that dude actually made
it. Jeffrey Epstein dies in prison, but Harvey Weinstein makes it. Come on, bro.
Well, Jeffrey Epstein was murdered in prison. Harvey Weinstein is just living in prison.
I said died. I didn't say he killed himself.
Everybody knows
that
dude got killed.
I'm telling you, the stormtroopers did it. But those were the dishonorable mentions. We're getting to the worst of now of 2020. In no particular order. Mulan, and everything that had to do with Mulan, with the movie itself, but the release, and we talked about this on the podcast, so I don't want to go too hard on it, because we already did, but...
We'll review that eventually. We'll watch it.
Here's what I'll say, though.
Like, the movie was bad, the release was...
Garbaggio.
No, I wouldn't call it garbage. The release was unredeemable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The actress who played Mulan supports Hong Kong and like demonizes the protesters, which fuck her.
They thanked an area that's getting a genocide put on it. You know, the Muslims.
Yep, the Muslim genocide that's going on over there.
Yeah.
It's absolute, but we don't want to get too. We try not to get too political.
But still, just fuck that movie.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck that movie.
Charging $30.
It's also which. By the way, Geiger, you haven't seen it, but Geiger and I watched this movie together one night. Mm-hmm. I will admit, we did not pay the money to watch this film.
Why would you? Fuck them.
Yeah.
I refuse to give Disney money. That's why I don't pay for my Disney Plus account. You do.
I don't mind giving Disney money for the things that are worth paying for, and the things that are not ridiculously priced.
If I could live the rest of my life without giving Disney a penny, I would do it. That being said, I am going to Disney World at some point in my life. I've never been, and I want to go. That's the time I'll give Disney my money.
I'll tell you what. Here's what will happen.
Anyway,
I'll take you. That movie, here's what we'll do. I'll take you to Disney World, and however much it costs to take you, you can just give me that money for something else.
Deal.
And then there we go.
That's it. What are you doing next month?
Next month, I will actually be filming next month.
Got that Stimmy pack. Same.
I will be filming multiple things in the next couple of months.
But anyway,
you got that whole $600 from Mixed Account. Thanks, bro. Yeah. Appreciate it, Chief.
Yeah. What a G.
But no.
So me and Geiger actually watched that movie.
Yeah.
The movie's dog shit.
I barely paid attention to it half the time.
Dude, I didn't listen to the whole film. It's dog shit.
No, I fucking got it.
Like, the action, shitty.
Yeah.
I've heard the action was compared to, like, The Great Wall, which came out with, like, the Matt Damon film.
I've only seen bits and pieces of that.
Yeah, I could see that, because
some people
were
make that connection. So some people were saying it was like...
No, they tried being, like, Crouching Tiger... Hidden Dragon.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yes, yeah. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. They tried emulating that, and I'm like, this is dog.
Well, it's like there's a good way to pay homage, and there's another way to copy.
Yeah.
And then like, so you know the amazing supporting cast that the Mulan animated series had?
Yeah, non-existent.
Look, yeah. Not only is it not like those characters aren't even in the movie. Mm-hmm. There's no character named after them. It's Mulan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's garbage.
So we're gonna review that at some point. So let's not talk too much about it. But I will say, or about the film itself, because I don't want to give away too much because I haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Although I've seen the first one, so I think the story's at least relatively similar. Oh damn! So but I think Disney did realize where they made a mistake in the release. About charging $30 because they then later released Soul, which I really want to watch and review on the podcast.
I need to watch
Soul. But Soul was released for free.
Yes.
Well, with the Disney Plus subscription.
My family and I watched it this Christmas. It was really...
I've heard it was phenomenal, so I can't wait to watch it myself.
The
next,
I don't want
next on the worst of the PS5 launch. Let me tell you something. It was the second launch because they launched it and then we weren't able to get it, and it was like a week later, and it was the second launch. And I swear to God, we had 7 or 8 screens, different devices, ready to get on there. We had all to buy it.
Your laptop, your phone, my laptop, my desktop, my mom's phone, my mom's laptop, and my mom's desktop. So, all loading different websites, going to different locations to try and get a PS5. God. And by the time we could refresh the page, they were sold out.
Well, it was actually the thing is, it was at one point we were trying to do the Walmart one that we heard about.
Yeah, because at the time that's all that was selling.
And so it's like 8 screens and not a single one.
So
PS5, Sony, what the fuck?
So here's the thing, right? I get it. You only sell them online because if you ship them all to stores and everybody goes to the store en masse to get a PS5, with COVID going around, that is a problem. I get it. But if you only sell this system online, that means that the only people that will get this system are the people who have bots set up to buy them so that they can scalp them.
And sell them for what, 1,000, 1,200, something like that.
More than that. I've seen them go for more than that.
I didn't see any more than that, but the one I saw today, I was trying to find some because I know I don't need a PS5. I just bought a PS4. I'll be fine for a little while. I usually just I'm not really one of those up to date people that play games.
Yeah.
I still play game. My thing is I play GameCube still. You know what I mean? I like older stuff, which is fine with me. But I knew how much you wanted one, and so I keep every now and again I'll be like, let me see if just by off chance Anywhere's got one at the time, and then I immediately let you know. I got on there today and it was 1,350 was one of them. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, for anybody.
How big of a piece of shit do you have to be?
I have 2 PS5 games and an extra PS5 controller waiting for when I get a PS5, and as soon as I can make the purchase, which I got the money. Money's not an issue. The issue is finding one.
Yeah.
And this year, they said it would be better. But, when's it going to be better?
Yeah,
October?
exactly.
Right.
Is it going to be better next week? Is it going to be better December?
Yeah, Sony was on Twitter or something being I hope you enjoy your PS5s. And everyone's like, well, if you make more than 13 of them, maybe. Look, I remember I was in the store buying your birthday present from GameStop. And the guy in the line in front of me, right in front of me goes, you guys have any PS5s in stock? And
I would have told that guy, you're a fucking idiot.
Look,
you're so dumb.
Look, I was behind him in line, and I swear to God, I just went, he said that, he's like, are there any PS5s in stock? And I went,
yeah.
This fucking guy.
I swear to God, Addison and I, we had to, we started coughing. I was like, bro. They're gonna think we have COVID. Coughing and shit. I was like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, get the fuck out of here with that.
Where you been living?
Look, oh wait, there was one more best of that I forgot to mention.
Oh.
Honorable mention. It's been constant because it's been constant ever since I was born and even before then. Waffle House is a waffle home. They have been there for everybody. Yeah, Waffle House has been there for everybody. I can't tell you how many times this year I know where it was open, but Waffle House was open, and I was like, my man, my people.
Moving forward, what's the next on the worst of list?
The Giants' playoff hopes.
Oh my God, poor Giants, dude. Oh. I really wish Addison was here so he could go off on it.
Hold on a second. I'll call him right now and put him on speaker real quick. Let's see
if he answers, we'll let him talk about it for a second. If it doesn't sound like
don't tell him that we're on the podcast.
Yeah.
Don't tell him that we're on the podcast.
Oh, we gotta tell him because he's gonna be like, go watch my video. Go watch my video. I might be in bed. Shit.
It's like 10.
No, never mind. It's just 10:30.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Real quick, can you break down the game, the Washington
tank job,
the tank job game? Yeah, the Washington versus
Eagles.
Eagles. Can you break that down for me real quick?
Okay, so the Eagles were in position to win, right? It was 17-14. The Washington football team was winning. Okay. At the end of the third quarter, they had the opportunity to kick a field goal and tie the game up. They did not. They chose to go for it on fourth down instead.
Was it fourth and long or was it fourth and short?
It was fourth and one or fourth and two.
Okay, about what yards were they at though?
They were at the 5-yard line.
Bro, you gotta go for it.
Yeah. You don't gotta.
I disagree.
You really don't. You really don't gotta go for that.
Personally. But anyway, that's not what the tank job is. The tank job is that they decided in the fourth quarter to put their third string quarterback in and take Jalen Hurts out for literally no reason. Jalen wasn't hurt, and it wasn't like he was doing especially bad in the game. He just decided to put in his third string quarterback.
Did he say why?
No.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how upset are you right now?
Right now?
Like, or how upset were you about it? About what happened?
I was like a 9.
What do you think should have happened? What do you think should happen to the coach of the Eagles football team? What's his name?
Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson. How do you feel about him?
Doug Peterson.
I feel like he's shitty. I feel like you, as a professional organization, need to play to win no matter what.
Right.
I think tanking is not good. We kind of meme about it. We're early in the season, we were like, oh, the Jets are tanking, but they really aren't. They're just not good. They're playing for a paycheck. They're not actually tanking. The Jets ended up winning 3 games.
And the Jaguars won 1 game, 2 games? 1? Okay.
1. That's just because the Jaguars are genuinely horrible.
What is the consequence of Eagles tanking against Washington Washington football team? What is the consequence that came from that about other teams in the league?
The Giants did not make the playoffs.
And the Giants had kind of a season turnaround mid-season because they were like 0-4, and then they got 4 wins in a row or something.
The last 6 games of the season, the last 7 games of the season, they were 5-2.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So what's their record at the end of the season? What do they finish the season at?
6-10.
6-10, not bad.
That's
not horrible. I mean, Patriots didn't do that great. And so, Addison, one more question. Right. Who is your favorite football team?
The New York Giants, obviously.
Damn, rest in peace, homie. I just want to let you know you're on the Unscripted podcast with Kris and Luke and featuring Geiger this week.
And Addison, apparently.
And Addison, and I appreciate your expertise. We're doing the worst of for 2020, and number 3 on that list is the Giants' playoff hopes. And do you want to plug your YouTube channel?
Yeah. So if you want to follow me, I talk football a lot. My YouTube channel is RPOpinions podcast. I recently just had a video kind of blow up over there. It's been fun. It's a passion project of mine.
And what's your Twitter?
At RPOpinions pod.
All right, bet. Thank you so much, Addison, for coming on and sharing your football expertise with us.
Thank you for your time, homie.
For sure. I appreciate it.
All right, dog. Talk to you later. Bye.
I know that he's off the phone, and I can say this without his reaction. Yo, Addison got cake. Dude, Addison is what one might call double cheeked up.
I'm telling you, he is thick with like 3 Ks, bro. 4 Ks, not 3.
Whatever. Moving on. What's next?
He's got that damn dumpy. All right,
dude. He got a caboose so big it needs his own conductor.
On more stuff. I'm gonna skip this next one for now. It'll be the last one we talk about.
Okay.
The next one is the cinema industry.
Big bummer for the cinema industry.
Yeah.
Everything got moved online. Hardly anything released in theaters. Tenet did, and we did go watch that.
Good on Warner Brothers for sticking to it though and getting it and releasing it. They lost some money with it. I think that they hope that they're going to make it up in DVD and rental sales.
I think they
and
will,
digital.
but we'll see.
But good for them. I think it's great that they did that. It's something, again, we talked about Hamilton. It was something we needed, but yeah, the cinema industry just, so many things got pushed back, delayed. New Mutants finally came out, so that's something. Of course, 2020 is the year that the New Mutants finally released. I think they filmed that back in 2017.
Yeah, that feels like the perfect ending to the shit show that was that production.
Oh my god.
Although it wasn't, I watched it. I didn't get to see the very end of it because there was something else. Tenet. It was the second time we were gonna watch Tenet.
Yeah. Our second time seeing it in theaters as a big group.
Yeah. Hey, look, we like to put our money where our mouth is. We pay for the things we like. We don't pay for the things we don't like.
Yep.
Damn straight, and I will be upfront about that every time.
But straight up though, New Mutants, I didn't get to see the very end of it, but I saw 95% of the film, 95. It wasn't horrible. It was, that had some problems. It's not something I review on the podcast, but it is something.
Yeah, we like to review quality material.
Shit. Wasn't there like a 3-episode skid where it was just bad movie after bad movie?
Dude,
I was
like,
it
was more than that.
I was like, Luke, please.
Can we please review a good thing? Which, by the way, real quick, let me throw this out there. We didn't finish that Dune miniseries. It wasn't good, and we didn't want to watch it, so we're not going to watch it anymore. But after the movie comes out, we're going to see that in theaters, and we'll review that.
I apologize. We couldn't.
We tried, dude.
We tried.
It wasn't as bad as the movie. But it wasn't good.
It's so much longer though, and I was just like,
it was.
Here's the deal. That the Dune miniseries could have really benefited from modern effects and not a early 2000s straight to TV sci-fi channel, specifically sci-fi channel effects. Because the concept was really cool, especially when the worm came out, dude. Yeah. But
the one in the movie looks great. It looks so good.
I can't wait, dude. I can't wait.
Anyway, what's next?
Okay, so the next though, this is. We joke and we laugh. The last on the worst of.
This is a serious topic.
Right.
A serious topic to bring up.
There were a lot of deaths this year. Yes. Celebrity.
I feel like that goes on like any worst of list. There were a lot of people that died this year, and you hate to see it happen.
And celebrities and, just the everyday people that you don't see.
Just to name a few, rest in peace, all of these people. Alex Trebek. Chadwick Boseman. David Prowse also died.
Don't say. We'll get to that one at the very end of it.
Who? Yeah. MF Doom. He died on New Year's Eve. He almost made it to 2021, but he unfortunately did pass away. Sean Connery died this year. May he rest in peace.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Eddie Van Halen did not make it. Sad to say that. Little Richard died.
Yeah.
Regis Philbin died.
That's a big one.
And I'll admit, I did not know that Regis Philbin passed away until we were researching this topic.
Two iconic game show hosts.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Diana Rigg died, but the big death, the death that kind of started it all, and we'll end here, and then we'll move on to a new topic. But the big one, the one that kind of set the tone for 2020, was unfortunately the king himself, Kobe Bryant.
And his daughter.
That was right. Yeah, that
and
is
the pilot too. That was so
everybody.
Tragic.
It was more than just them. It was a whole family. And I will honestly say I do not know any of their names. The only name that I am aware of from that crash was Kobe Bryant. But may all of them rest in peace. It was a very unfortunate event that led to their demise.
We sincerely.
Yeah, we
joke on this show.
Family.
We do, and I can only It's hard to thank someone who's not here anymore, but I can genuinely feel thankful for all the years that all of them gave for our entertainment.
Yeah.
And with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, not our entertainment, but for our justice.
Yeah. And our justice, our quality of life.
Quality of life. Yeah. So there's at the local and then I'm getting kind of worked up, but at the local library here in Florence, they actually had a whole setup on through the civil rights movement and with Black History Month. There's a whole thing. It was like a museum. It was so well done. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg was mentioned in that and talked about, and she had a whole panel for just herself. And and so it is. I think it would be appropriate to take just a moment of silence for all of those people the celebrities that have passed, and even those who we don't know who lost their lives this year. Yeah. And what were you going to say before we do that?
I was going to say, I can't remember which senator was the biggest icon of the civil rights movement. John Lewis died this year.
Yep. He did. Yeah.
He did die in 2020. It would. That was. Yeah.
So I think we'll just take a moment of silence for all those people. And with that, we will close the worst of 2020. And now we're going to move on to some general topics we wanted to make sure we talked about this year. And number one on that is Cyberpunk 2077. All three of us have played it. We have not all beaten it, but we have all played it.
I have beaten it. I beat the game. I currently, totaling all of my playthroughs, I have 4 playthroughs right now. I have only finished it on 1 playthrough. On another playthrough, I am at the final mission and I'm going around doing all the side quests before I finish it. One, and my other 2 playthroughs are not that far, but they're all different builds. And everybody always talks about how buggy the game was at launch. And I'll be the first to admit, when that game launched, it was a wreck. It still kind of is on like PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
But the game is fun. The game is really fun. And I enjoy it greatly.
I don't mind. I understand it did feel kind of rushed, and I do think the creators didn't want to. The creators, as I understand it, the creators did not want to release it yet.
Yeah, that was not a developer decision.
Yeah.
That was on the publishers.
Yes,
and it's important that people know that.
Yes. They were working and to be able to release after with the setbacks that they've been giving for years and years. What they release is not bad, and certainly when you consider that,
it's just a quality product that has problems. Problems that CDPR have vowed that they will fix.
Yeah.
And one of the problems that they have already fixed, they released an update that I was able to get. So I don't mind a game that might take a second to render everything on screen. Like, it might be a little blocky, and then it gives me the finer detail. I don't mind when that happens. It'd be great if it didn't happen too much, but I get it. It's a big game, and they're still trying to work out the bugs. The big bug for me that was ruining my experience playing the game was every hour or so, the game would crash.
And it still has crash problems, but not as. But it is now better.
The last 2 times I played for like 3 hours. A time, 3 hours at a time, and it never crashed once.
That's good.
Nice.
So it was nice to see that they are working as fast as they can. You know, it's a huge game. It's not.
Bless those developers that are still giving so much of their time to ensure the quality of this product.
That being
good
said,
for them.
All that being said, very poor launch.
It was. I will not deny that it was. It's a good game though. It is a great game. And it is a great game that is plagued by a publisher's decision.
Oh, God,
but you know what? I pre-ordered the game back in August. And I got really excited. I didn't really know about the game too much at the beginning of the year. It's because of Luke. It's because of you that I was able to learn more about it. You told me some of the history behind it. You kind of got me hyped for it. And I got it pre-ordered in August. And one of the pre-order bonuses that came in was a wicked necklace, like medallion.
Yeah, the samurai logo, which you never wear.
I do wear it when I have collared shirts on. When I don't have collared shirts, it like hangs really low and it's like really tight on my neck.
I spelt my CDPR merch daily. I have a necklace that the little medallion on it is the Witcher Wolf School logo, and I wear that almost daily.
Well, there's another reason why I haven't worn it since I've been back. What you guys don't know, we were going to try and do a podcast earlier in December. We had talked about it. We wanted to get back on that. I got COVID. I had it. And so I went into quarantine. You know what sucks? The day I went into quarantine, because I had gotten it, I had to go into quarantine. The next day was when it released.
Yeah.
So I had to wait like a week to get my copy, which I finally got it. And the whole time I was at home, the whole time I was running around.
Which it's important to note, You didn't go into public to get it. Someone got your copy and brought it to you.
So my sister lives in the same town as I do, and I had to miss her graduation,
which is a bummer.
I watched the live stream though, I was able to watch the live stream. My mom came up for that, and so while she was up here in Florence, she stopped by GameStop and snagged it for me because I called her and was like, "Hey, you mind?" Oh, I was like, I'd give you a hug and a kiss on the cheek if I could.
Yeah.
But she dropped it off on my porch back home.
Which, speaking of COVID, this is a recent thing. I found out last night that my dad now has COVID. And apart from that, my brother's wife, so I guess is it sister-in-law?
Yeah.
I guess sister-in-law, she has COVID. And I especially feel for her because she is pregnant and they are going to do a C-section on her Monday. The baby will be here Monday. And my brother got tested today. I have not heard his results. Let me text my mom about that. Nah, it's too late. I'll talk to her tomorrow. He got tested today. I haven't heard his results. But if he is positive, he is not allowed to be there for the child's delivery. Which means that he might not get to see his kid for the first 2 weeks of his life. And that is
tragic.
That is tragic.
Something I don't wish on any parent.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've never had a kid. I don't know what it's like, but man, I don't know how he'll get through it. That's something that I don't wish on anyone.
And so it COVID has been a horrible thing this year.
Yeah.
COVID has been the thing this year.
Yeah,
you know?
It really has.
It was World War III.
Oh God.
And then it was what was it? There was something between World War III and COVID.
It was the fires in Australia.
The bushfires.
Yeah.
Australia and California.
And then
that was a little later on.
And then it's the Tokyo Olympics getting canceled. Now next year it'll be the bombing of Pearl Harbor again. It's been a tough year for a lot of us.
Again, serious note, our hearts do go out to all those people that have lost family to COVID-19. But if you've had it and you're still here, I'm infinitely happy to hear that. We're glad that you made it through. I know some people. I am lucky enough that no one I know has passed away from COVID this year.
Yeah.
But I know people that have loved ones that have, and our hearts do go out to those people and those families.
Exactly, for sure. I was so worried when I caught it that I had given it to everybody up here.
Yeah, you were like as close to me now
as I was,
as you were when you found out that your dad had it, and then you left and got tested and you're positive, and I was like, oh, dude,
I felt, dude, I don't, you know. The reason you don't want to get it, besides you don't want to be sick, is you don't want to give it to the people you care about.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like you don't want to give it to people you don't care about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Except like Mitch McConnell and for real. Which Mom told me she got tested and she tested positive. Or sorry, I misspoke. She tested negative.
Okay.
Still worried about the fact, because she lives in the same house as Dad, so I'm sure she's bound to get it at some point, and I hope all that finds out, because both of them, they say that it's not all that deadly to people that don't have, like, other health conditions. Both of them do have health conditions. Mom...
Has she thought about not living at the house for 2 weeks?
Probably not. Where can she go? The only other place she could go is where Ashley lives, and Ashley has COVID.
That's true.
So,
if she can find a friend that maybe
she
has a couch,
if I'm not mistaken, type 2 diabetes. Dad has blood pressure issues and some other stuff. They both have underlying health conditions, and I'm worried to see how that goes, but I'm hoping that they're both going to come out fine.
I am fortunate enough that my work is going to be able to get me the vaccine.
Righteous.
And I am so excited. I'm still obviously going to keep wearing my mask everywhere I go.
Yeah, of course.
But just the extra layer of security. Yeah. So I'm excited about that.
That's exciting.
I am very fortunate with my employment to be able to get that. And the next thing that we're going to talk about, that was we weren't planning on talking more about COVID, but how can you not? Yeah. It's such a important issue that's been going on for about a year now,
dominating our lives essentially.
Exactly. I mean, it's changed.
Especially for people in fields that are directly affected by it. I'm not saying that other fields haven't been more affected by it, but us in the film field, we've been fucked.
And how about and people affected by it? And it's not that they lost their job; it's that they're having to work overtime.
Oh yeah.
Health professionals working overtime. And I know insurance companies get a horrible rap, and a lot of them for reasons that they should get a horrible rap. But the people that work at those companies having to work overtime for this, and like we said, healthcare professionals, it's insane. I work at a health clinic is where I work, but I do the video stuff for them, so I don't see patients too much. But I see how tired the people that work there are. They're exhausted.
Well, they have to.
So kudos to them and props to all of them, for the hard work they're doing. And it's a shame that they don't get $2,000 that would really help them out. Anyway, the video game awards, the Game Awards were this year. They actually still held them. I think it was all digital though, if I'm not mistaken. Was it?
It was all online, yeah.
Mm-hmm. A lot of film festivals this year have been online. I helped out. I worked with the Mountain Tales Film Festival this year. We talked about it on the podcast at one point. They did all of theirs online. We did some script read-throughs and stuff. But the Video Game Awards were this year, and I think, what were some of the points you wanted to make about the Video Game Awards?
Okay, so we're thinking about the Video Game Awards, right? I think the Video Game Awards are a little sus. Because everybody knows that they decide what gets what based on votes.
Yeah.
Popular vote.
Yeah, you go in and you vote for what you want to win.
Yeah.
And we all know that The Last of Us 2 did not have good reviews from the people who reviewed it. That is fact.
From the critics or the audience?
From the audience.
Okay,
the people that would be voting
were crazy about it. Dude.
Were not big on that game, but that game won almost every award for it. Won Game of the Year, and I
see where you're going with this.
Don't think that based on the user reviews versus the votes, I do not think that it would have actually won any of those awards
because it's based on popular vote.
Yeah,
I think I see where you're going.
I feel like. I'm not going to say... A buddy of mine said this. I didn't. He genuinely thinks that Naughty Dog bought those awards. I don't think that. I don't think Naughty Dog would do that.
I've always trusted Naughty Dog.
Yeah, I like Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog's good.
But, I mean, you never know. But my thing is I just... Again, I've talked about it on this episode already. Ghost of Tsushima. That game deserved to sweep.
Yeah.
And it didn't. And how it didn't, I'll never know. It deserved everything, and it got almost nothing.
Well, don't forget, Crash won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. You know what I mean? I don't know. The thing about Crash is that it was clearly not the best film that year.
It wasn't.
Green Book won Best Film. You know what I mean?
Did Green Book win?
It won Best Film. Now, Parasite won Best Film, and that was amazing.
Yeah,
dude,
Parasite deserved it.
I won. We had a whole betting thing going on about you take the list of all the nominations for just different categories. The more, I don't want to say more important ones. They're all important. Yeah, but the most popular ones, Best Picture, Actor, Director, Actor, all that. And I was right. Like out of I think we did 12 of the awards. I got 10 correct.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know. I had my list down, and I think I missed 2 or 3. I'll never forget 2018 Oscars.
Which film won that year?
It was the year that Shape of Water won.
2018, yeah.
2018.
The day of the Oscars, a friend of mine, a close personal friend of mine, a family friend of mine, who lives in California. She runs a bed and breakfast on Skywalker Ranch. Fun fact about her. She made a Facebook post. She was like, all right, guys, what do y'all got for movie of the year? And I was like, it's Shape of Water. And this dude replied to my comment, was like, there's no way Shape of Water wins. And he gave all these reasons why. And I was like, I mean, I just don't agree with any of those. And I think that you're wrong and you'll be proven wrong in a few hours.
Ooh.
And then Shape of Water won, and I went back and I replied to his comment, and I was like, yeah, how's that? How's that?
How do those words taste? I want to know.
How you feeling?
How did you cook those?
Yeah, how'd you feel?
Over medium or high?
Dude,
Yeah.
like my favorite thing about that winning movie of the year isn't that my favorite director won director of the year and movie of the year. It was that I could tell that guy to see himself out.
The saddest thing about Parasite winning, which was, I mean, how many sad things could there be? It's such a great film.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Phenomenal.
It deserved every
Bong
award that it
Joon-ho,
won.
yeah, I think it deserved a little bit more. I think none of the performances got nominated. None of them.
That's true. I don't think, and this is probably this is a hot take, I'm sure. I don't think Joaquin Phoenix deserved Best Actor for the Joker.
Man,
and I'll tell you why. The only reason that I don't think Joaquin Phoenix deserved that award, because he did great.
Yeah.
He absolutely deserved his nomination. I think Adam Driver should have gotten that award.
Yeah, let me say this.
For Marriage Story, because that was such an emotionally charged role. And, oh, God. I
cried. I cried.
Yeah.
I absolutely think that he deserved that award. I'm not, like, upset
Yeah.
that Joaquin Phoenix
he gave
won.
the second best performance of the year.
Yeah. Second best performance of the year. Second best.
I'll give you another Joker hot take in a second. But what the thing is, I hope he never. The one person I hope doesn't hear this particular episode is Joaquin Phoenix. You listen. You need to understand something about me. I love Joaquin Phoenix. My favorite film of all time is Her. He breaks my heart with his performance. Joaquin Phoenix, I think, is one of the best actors. I know this is a hot topic. One of the best actors all time. He's such a great performer. I think he's like up there with like Daniel Day-Lewis. He's just so phenomenal. And I'm glad for him that he won. Oh, he should have won for other roles.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he won that one for him. But I do have to agree with you that Adam Driver should have won that specific year's award.
Yes.
It's like Leo DiCaprio winning The Revenant. It's like he definitely should have won other ones. Maybe not that one. Maybe not that one.
I'm gonna say this now. I haven't seen The Revenant. I bought that DVD.
Oh, don't you have
I bought The Revenant the day it came out.
Uh-huh.
I still haven't seen it, and I'll tell you why. I bought that movie because, like, one of me and my dad's bonding things, we would watch movies together. Shitty, great, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Every Saturday for years, I would get off work, come home, and we would watch that week's sci-fi original film together. I've seen a lot of bad movies with my dad.
Yeah, I've been there.
And I bought that movie so me and him could watch it together. Went to work one night, came home, he was like, hey, I watched The Revenant while you were gone. And I was like, you piece of shit.
Damn.
And I just haven't seen it.
I
think he deserved an award for Wolf of Wall Street.
that was a good one. That was a great
The
one.
movie's fucking awesome.
He's deserved it for a lot of different films. I think What's Eating Gilbert Grape, he should have won a supporting actor for that one. I've seen that one. That one's
I think he should have got a nom for Django Unchained. I definitely think Christoph Waltz deserved the award that he won for Django Unchained. But I think that DiCaprio deserved a nom.
He didn't get a nod for that one?
I don't think
he might. I mean, I might be talking out my ass. He might have. But I
here's-
know that Christoph Waltz won that award. Christoph Waltz has won an Oscar for every Quentin Tarantino film he's been in.
How about that? Can we get another one?
He's
Look,
2 for 2.
Listen, here's my hot take on not the Joker, but on the Joker as a character. Here's my hot take. Heath Ledger.
Oh, never mind.
Hot take. John DiMaggio's version of the walk across the beam joke that the Joker tells was better than Mark Hamill's. That's a hot take. But
I haven't seen.
It's Mark Hamill. The internet.
I do think Mark Hamill is the best Joker we've ever had.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Mark.
I just think that specific
all
monologue.
of the live actions be damned. Mark Hamill.
I just think that specific
head,
monologue from The Killing
Joker.
Joke wasn't done as well, and I think it was done better in Death of the Family by John DiMaggio.
Yeah.
But my hot take is Heath Ledger. If he hadn't have died, he wouldn't have won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. I think it would have gone to.
I think it would have necessarily agree with that because he did a.
Well, let me finish my hot take.
Fire job.
Here's the hot take. I think Robert Downey Jr. would have won for Tropic Thunder. And I think he should have won for Tropic Thunder. And I know that's a hot take, but
he did great in that.
It was he played
all of his lines were charged with social commentary that we shouldn't get into, but it was great.
I think Tropic Thunder. Say what you will about the film, I think it's a really cool film. I love the film. I've watched it.
I liked it.
How many times?
I've only seen it like 2 or 3 times.
It's the best film Ben Stiller's ever directed. But I think he directed that one. Yeah.
I think he
Yep.
did.
But one of the best Tom Cruise performances as well.
Oh yeah,
and one of the best Matthew McConaughey performances. It's got all the performances.
Face.
But I'm telling you, Robert Downey Jr. should have and would have wanted, not to take anything away from Heath Ledger, if he were still alive today, if he lived to have like a full life, he would go down as one of the greats. There's no doubt in my mind that he would have. Brokeback Mountain, I cry every time I watch that. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times. Every time I see it, I cry.
I was raised in a very conservative Christian home, so I've never seen Brokeback Mountain.
Well, it's great.
I want to see it. I've heard it's awesome. I just haven't.
But no, that's my hot take on that one. Is that he wouldn't have won if he hadn't died, and whether he died or not, it should have gone to RDJ.
Yeah. But one thing we can all agree on.
Well, I kind of take that back. I'm sorry. Heath Ledger should have won an Oscar within his lifetime. That was his last chance because he had died, and he did give an Oscar-worthy performance. So and I know RDJ's cool with it, and I'm okay with it too.
Yeah.
If he hadn't died, RDJ should have and would have won.
Yeah.
That's my hot take.
But anyway, let's move forward.
Sorry,
because we got a couple more things.
We're still got a good while to go. Things we're gonna talk about things we're excited for in 2021.
Right.
Number one being life.
Living,
breathing 2021 air.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet and swell.
Another thing I'm excited for is the possibility of getting a PS5.
The possibility, if they decide to make 13 more, they made 13 PS5s last year. If they make 13 more this year and ship them out, maybe.
Yeah, maybe I can get one of them.
The problem was we had 8 screens, 8 different devices trying to get it last time. We need one more, and that's where Geiger comes in.
Yeah.
Gets that 9th one.
Geiger can be on laptop, desktop, PC. We can get 3 more. But I'm excited about that. I'm excited about...
Hopefully. We've been putting parentheses, hopefully.
If I do not have a PS5 by the time the new God of War comes out, I will rob a motherfucker.
I'll help you. Look,
I have no intentions of not playing that game on launch.
Listen.
God of War is not my favorite video game because that's Metal Gear Solid. But God of War on PS4
one of your favorites,
is probably top 3 favorite video games of all time. That game, the only reason it didn't win more awards at the Game Awards is because it launched the same year as Red Dead 2, which I think Red Dead 2 is... I'll say this. Red Dead 2, fantastic game.
Phenomenal.
Red Dead 2, in no aspects, can hold a candle to God of War. Gameplay, story...
Everything.
Cinematography. God of War is better in every single way.
The big one, voice acting, boy.
Except maybe original score.
Yeah.
I think. So here's the thing. Red Dead 2, I believe, does have a better score than God of War. Not the best score that year.
What was the best one that year?
Octopath Traveler.
So as far as video games, Octopath Traveler.
I do agree. Cause
the fact that Octopath Traveler did not win best score of the year was, to me, a personal insult.
Yeah.
There's no way that they could make something that beautiful without at least 5 virgin sacrifices. That
I've been trying
score.
You've been talking about let me borrow that one, let me play that one.
I mean, I gotta beat it first, dude. So, let me clarify. The only reason I haven't beaten Octopath Traveler, I was at the end of the game. All I had left was to beat, the actual final boss. And then I got a new Switch because I had the Joy-Con drift. You know how they did the Switch 1.5 that was supposed to fix it?
Yeah.
I got one of those. I upgraded. And I moved all of my save data to the cloud so I could get it all on my new one. And somehow, I guess I missed Octopath Traveler and had to start over. I am currently only about halfway through the game.
I'm so sorry. That sounds...
It sucks. But what I did is, I played, my first playthrough, I did it all raw. This playthrough, I was when I realized I had to restart the game, I looked it up and I was like, okay, how to metagame Octopath Traveler.
Right.
I have fucked my way through half this game.
You skip every cutscene because you already, or every dialogue, you already know.
I read through everything because the story's fire. But
and
anyway, that's that.
Next one, the things to look forward to. I'll start this one off. Resident Evil 8.
Dude,
now let me say something. Let me say this real quick right here, right now. I have never played a Resident Evil game. I've played Resident Evil 2 Remake for like 20-30 minutes total.
Yeah.
Scared the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Hold on. I am a pussy when it comes to horror video games. And you know what? You want to know what one of my favorite things to do? Let me tell you my favorite video game I've never played. Or I'm still going to give it that title. My favorite video game I've never played. I played it for like 20-30 minutes.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2 Remake. I have watched my friend Ricky speedrun that game at least 5 times. I have watched a full gameplay through the game. Let me tell you the reason I can't play that game. I had a nightmare one time.
Oh.
And what Mr. X is his name?
I think so. Yeah.
Mr. X was following me.
Oh no.
Let me tell you, I want to play that game, but I want to play the non-remake. I want to play the old PS1. I have a PS1 that works. Like I said before in the podcast, I play old consoles. I love it. I'm trying to find a copy of that old one. If anybody wants to gift it to me, I'll give you my details. But listen, Christmas is still open for me, baby. Considered a good 2021 offering to the PS God. But look, I cannot wait to watch people play Resident Evil 8.
No.
Because I think the Resident Evil franchise is...
watch Ricky play it. I do want to play it. 100%. I love Resident Evil. The only Resi game I haven't played is 6.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't play 6.
Did you play Raccoon City? Do you count that?
Oh, no, I didn't play that.
Don't play it.
I played Raccoon City.
I'm begging you not to.
Please don't.
Play it for the meme.
That's all you play it for.
I mean, you sit there like crouch, but you run.
See,
like,
you say that, now I'm trying to think, are there any other... I've played all of the numbered Resident Evil games. I've played 1 through 7, except for 6. I didn't play 6. It didn't look impressive.
It did.
From the things I saw before launch. Didn't play it, didn't get good reviews, don't miss it.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we've moved on to 7 and 8, it looks like it's just like a kind of like a soft reboot of the series.
Yeah. Is Leon going to be in 8?
I don't know. Chris is.
Yeah,
Chris was in 7. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Chris Redfield is in 7. Chris is going to be in 8. We've already seen that from the trailers. I'm hyped for it. It looks incredible. And I think it's going to be a very good survival horror game. But you were talking about you're a pussy. I was thinking earlier.
At least when it comes to horror video games, yeah.
Do you remember...
Can I real quick?
Trying to play Observer.
Dude, fuck, Jesus Christ, dude. I got to the look, Observer is, like, the atmosphere is scary.
Yeah.
But there's really only one part that's scary, and it's when you're having to sneak through this, like, office space and not be found.
Yeah, and you never got past it.
Dude,
you never got past it. You're just like, I don't want to play this game anymore. I was like,
yeah, I'm a...
He was like, I'll watch you play it if you want to play it. And I was like, dude, I literally downloaded this game because I thought you would like it.
No. I love it, dude. I was like, dude, this is awesome. This is like Blade Runner meets freaking... every single like horror game ever. Outlast.
Every single
horror
game.
But I was like, oh yeah, this is fucking cool. Rutger Hauer voice.
Yeah,
you know, I was like,
Hauer's the main character.
I'm here for this because if anybody doesn't understand this, Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049 are 2 of my favorite films of all time.
Yeah,
great films. If I make a top 10 list, they're at least like 4 and 5, 3 and 4, 2 and 3. Some like they are in the top 5. Both of them. I adore those films. I get swelled up in my emotions every time I watch them. Spoiler alert. Luke's Christmas present to me this year. He couldn't get it before Christmas, so he went in and told me what it was, and I'll tell you what it is. It's a replica of Kay and Deckard's pistols that they use, and if you think that that's not going to be a thumbnail for one of our videos where I'm like, oh, I got it, like, I cannot wait, dude. I'm like. If I ever get pulled over by an officer and he's like, you carry any weapons on you? I'm like, yeah, you fucking know it. Like, with those bad boys. I'm going to have those bitches, like, framed in my bedroom. I love it. Could not beat Observer because I'm a big fat pussy when it comes to horror video games.
We need to play Observer, and we need to play Soma. Yeah, I think you will really like Soma. I'll play it.
I'll play it.
He's like, to ease your pussy mind, I'll
play it. But I think you will love Soma. And there's another game that came out this year that I want to play. I don't remember its exact title, but it's the new Amnesia game. Because it's the third Amnesia game. Oh, I've seen the first hour and a half of it on YouTube. That game looks awesome.
Let me tell you something. I'm such a fat pussy. I played Phasmophobia in VR and I couldn't beat the tutorial. No. I did beat the tutorial, but it took me 30 minutes because I was so afraid to even walk in the room.
Oh my god!
I'm planning on getting that soon.
Look, I love horror movies. Horror movies, I can deal with just about any of them. I watched Hereditary, didn't blink an eye. You know, the first time I watched Hereditary, I walked out going, that was okay. Didn't really scare me. But subsequent viewings, I was like, dude, I fucking get terrified.
That movie made me uncomfortable.
Oh yeah,
and I love it.
My thesis film for college, I've never made a horror film, and I was adamant for years. I was like, I'm never gonna make a horror film. I don't want to do that. And then I had this script idea in my head after a conversation I had with a really good friend of mine. His name is Marcus, and he told me about some just experiences and stuff. And we kind of, one of the reasons I stepped away from horror is whether you believe this stuff or not. When I was a kid, my house, and not just a kid, just in general. I mean, even when I go back, I feel it. My house is haunted with the house I grew up in. The shit that I've seen there, the things I felt there, the things that have happened there, so I kind of distanced myself from the horror genre. Yeah. And a lot of the stuff didn't scare me because I'm like, oh, something moving across the room in front of you, not new to me. I've seen that how many times now?
Yeah, grew up with that shit.
Yeah, it's like, whatever. That doesn't actually scare me. But Hereditary got me because it took it a step further.
Every new viewing, every new viewing I have of it, it just adds on to that.
Yeah, it's so good because every time I watch that film,
I really wish that Ari Aster could make films as good as that, but Midsommar simply wasn't.
He might be able to. It's just his sophomore effort.
I mean, his sophomore like freshman effort, he was like, I've got to make a fucking name for myself, and he did.
Well, dude, I mean,
and then he followed it up with a movie that was just okay.
He got artsy. He got too artsy for his own good.
Yeah, I think that is exactly what the problem was.
Midsommar is not my second favorite film of his. My first favorite is Hereditary. No lie.
What's Wrong with the Johnsons?
It's something strange about the Johnsons. Dude,
that movie.
I love it. It's great.
It's a short film.
It's a thesis film.
Yeah, it's
a thesis film. And dude. But I made a horror film for my thesis film. It's Father Reclamation. Whenever it releases, of course, we'll plug it. I will, and we'll get and you can watch it. It's like 18 right now with the cut that we're at. It's like 1850, 1830, something like that. It's I'm sending off the sound to a professional and sending the visuals to. He's not quite a professional yet, but he's obviously he's going along with us, and he's might as well be a professional. At this level of our college, we're basically professionals.
Pretty much.
At our university, we have more set experiences. We have more set experience than just about any other film school you will ever go to. Because those film schools...
And that's crazy to think about, because we're from Alabama.
Yeah. But the thing is, we all work on each other's stuff, and and the thing is, our professor realized when he came here, he realized that we were at a disadvantage with as far as being able to compete with those other schools. But the one advantage we could have is if he pushed us. Other film schools, I'll put it this way.
Shit out of
us. Other film schools, you might make 3 or 4 films over your entire college career. You're mostly working on other people's stuff, or you're mostly just. It's not just working on other people's stuff. That's what we do anyway. But if everybody only makes 3 or 4 films over the course of your entire college career, then there's only so much set experience that's even optional. We make in our intermediate class. That's not including...
In our intro class...
We make 3.
Yeah.
In our intermediate class, you make
7.
You make 7. Yeah. And the last one...
Our advanced class, we only make
2.
We make 2.
Yeah.
And then, of course...
And our thesis film is our last one. So that's not including... So, of the films you have to make where you have to be the director of, that's 7, 8, 9, 10... That's 13... films.
Yeah. I have already directed 12 films.
Yeah. I have directed 13.
And technically, I've directed... No, you did 14.
Are you counting...
I do count directing. Because we did direct a film.
You did, yeah.
Which one? Which one?
You did Steve Jobs.
Yeah, I did do the scene from that.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't. That one wasn't good.
Mine wasn't good. Mine was.
Which was yours?
No offense, I did better than you.
Oh,
yours was not good, and we both know it, considering that we both acted in it. But listen, we both know
it was a. Let me before people get the wrong impression. I was going through the worst time in my entire life that I've ever been through, and Luke, I lost like 50 pounds.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, I was sickly. I was sick all the time. It was the worst time of my life. Luckily, I didn't go through that when I made my thesis film.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God.
And I managed to bounce back. That next semester, that following year, I bounced back and I made The Artist's Dilemma, which was the best thing I had ever made at the time. And it leaps and bounds better than the Steve Jobs scene. But
it's not comparable.
It's not even comparable. You wouldn't think they were made by the same guy.
Yeah.
I was able to bounce back in that class. And actually, no. I've made more than 13 because You've
made a couple. You made like 19 or 20.
Yeah, I've made 19 or 20 short films. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, the only reason that
And I've made, now that I think about it, I haven't made 13. I've made 16 because I had to take intro twice because I failed. And I failed because I didn't turn in my final.
Hey, that's why that's why I got 19 or 20 because I failed.
Yep.
Because I didn't turn in the final because I
that's an auto
again
fail.
We were talking about the worst time of my life. I wasn't gonna shoot my final. I had decided like, look, this is the worst time of my life. I was suicidal. I was like, I got more important shit to worry about than school. Like, I'm trying to worry about living. Making it out of this bullshit that I was going through. I don't want to get too much detail. It's horrible. So I didn't turn in my final. I shot it like the night before because I was like, I gotta turn in something. But then I retook the class and I had lost my love for film, and then I refound it when I retook the class, and the shit that we made in that class, I'm releasing. I'm giving my gift to my parents this year, because they've really pushed me through college along with my friends, and they've really helped me. When I had to go home, I went home because I wasn't going to come back to school. I basically dropped out, but I stuck with the course. But in between that time, I went back home, and they were encouraging me to come back, and so I made a collection for their Christmas present this year of 7 short films that I've made between 2015 to 2020. Mm-hmm. And I made like a trailer for it, and it's gonna have like commentary, like DVD commentary, interviews talking about the films, like how we made them and why I chose to put them in this collection. And it's pretentious as fuck, and I recognize that. I 100% recognize that, but it's something I wanted to do for my family. Yeah. And it's just like looking back on how many films I've made, and I almost count another. I basically directed. I'm not gonna throw any names out there because I don't want to lambast anybody. I don't want anybody to get any heat for it. I basically directed 2 practicums, 2 thesis films last semester.
You did.
And because I was the director of photography on one of them, and the director for that film was very much out of their element. They were not ready to make that senior thesis film. Yeah. I basically directed that film.
I was on that set with them because. Yeah, you took over.
And so it's like directing all this stuff and making all this stuff, and then you take those 20 films I've made, or not made, but I've worked on another 40 or 50,
if not more,
of other student films throughout the years of college. No other school gets that experience. No other film school gets that experience. So we may not have all the latest equipment, all the latest software to do all the things that these other schools do. But for a fraction of those prices at those much bigger schools, we get multiple times, like at least I would say 20 or 30 times the experience.
Maybe.
If you take 4 films, and then you consider how many that's how many you make over your college career, plus all the ones that you make for other people that you work on, it doesn't hold a candle to the amount that we have done, because our professor realized that while we don't have all the equipment and all the means, we definitely have the ability to just make more and get more experience on a set, learning the set lingo, learning how it works and how it runs and operates, and learning skills that a lot of other people, when they get into the industry after their 4 years and $200,000 tuition of a film school, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing on a film set, because they don't have the experience. And so that's something that my big takeaway from my college experience is the experience of being on a film set, you know.
Yeah. But moving on, the last thing that we're really excited about for 2021, this is, again, more of a me thing. Let me preface this.
I'm going to grab a drink.
I have spent a lot of my life playing a video game that I almost loathe to mention. I have played a lot of League of Legends. And you listening, if you know what it is, you know why I say I loathe to mention it. The game's kind of yucky. But I love RPGs. RPGs are my second favorite video game genre, behind the Metroidvania genre. At some point this year, Riot Games, the company behind League of Legends, will be releasing their first ever story-based RPG called The Ruined King. I believe its full title is The Ruined King, A League of Legends Tale. When I was playing League, I was like pretty deep into the lore, and the Ruined King was always something that interested me greatly, because he's just this mysterious figure that rules this like cursed land, and I thought he was awesome. And in this game, we're going to get to know the Ruined King, because he's, I guess, the main bad guy. But it is a single-player, story-based RPG about a couple of the characters from League of Legends that come together to go against the Ruined King, and I'm hyped for that. I think it's going to be awesome. Can't wait for it to come out. Not going to lie, probably going to get it day one. I'm going to play it, and I'll talk about it after that on the podcast. But that's all I have to say about it right now.
Before we move on, because we've talked about the things we're looking forward to. Before we move on, I was going to add, I forgot to add, you talked about if you can't get one within how long? If you can't get a PS5 within how long, you're going to steal it?
If I can't get a PS5 before God of War comes out, I'm stealing a PS5.
Hey, we did a Friends Christmas thing where we had, and Geiger was a part of this too, so all three of us were part of it, along with, I mean, how many other people were part of it? A lot.
There was like
10 or 12.
16 of us, something like that? No, maybe not that.
10 or 12 plus us.
Yeah.
But we did Secret Santa. And on my Secret Santa, we basically went on Amazon, and you just go on your wish list under $10, and you put like 4 or 5 things on your wish list under $10. Yeah. There was a ski mask on there. I was like, yo, this seems fun.
Come out, your black and tans. Come out.
Look, I do not regret. Look, my Secret Santa gift this year was a book of like dad jokes, and I fucking love it. Trust me, I love it. I didn't expect to get that. And so I was like, I put on my list this ski mask. I was like, how funny would it be if someone got me a ski mask for Secret Santa? I just pull it out of the bag. It's a ski mask. I was gonna put it on the Zoom call and just wear it the whole time if I could.
My Secret Santa was luckily. I've known about Brandon Sanderson, my favorite author, the author of the Stormlight Archive. I've known about him since high school. When I was in high school, he wrote a trilogy called the Mistborn Trilogy, and I read that in high school. And then I never pursued his other works. But a couple years ago, a friend of ours, named Quint, brought up the Stormlight Archive, and he is the reason I subscribed to Audible, and he is the reason that I read the Stormlight Archive, which is now my favorite series. I lucked up, and he was my Secret Santa, and he got me a Stormlight Archive poster, which is a really cool art, and then on it is the first ideal of the Knights Radiant, which is strength before weakness, life before death, and journey before destination. And I can't wait to get that in, because I'm going to frame that shit and put it on my wall. That's awesome. Right. Is there anything you're looking forward to in particular, Geiger?
Oh,
Mandalorian Season 3.
Yeah, of course Mandalorian Season 3.
There's a bunch of new like, I'm just excited in general for media in general because, like, there's so many new movies coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And they're luckily putting on, like, HBO Max for us to able to access.
Thankfully.
Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. I'm so excited.
Can't wait for that, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're going to review
You'll
that.
actually watch Justice League now.
Like in November when I was home for Thanksgiving, me and Dad watched Justice League. I finally saw it.
I saw it like last year. I think is when I finally watched it. Like
I saw it.
Dude,
over
I saw the day
Thanksgiving.
one.
It's not.
It's I think it's better than Batman v Superman, but that's not saying too much.
I think it's better than Suicide Squad. I'll give it that.
There were steps in the right direction. I think. My
thing is, if you have a big reveal in a film, you don't reveal it in the trailer.
Or the post-credit scene in Batman v Superman.
I'll never forget when Kingsman Golden Circle came out. They announced that film by announcing, is it Galahad was alive? Colin Firth's character.
Well, I know Colin. Yeah, I don't remember his name.
I'm pretty sure he was Galahad.
Well, the trailer revealed it, and I was like,
but even before that, we knew he was coming back. And I was like, you don't reveal that.
I hadn't been keeping up with that with the
movie.
I hadn't been keeping up with the movie news for that. So when I watched the trailer and I saw that, I was like, at one part of me was like, oh my god, he's back, but the other part of me was like, why would you show me that in the trailer?
Yeah, like, come on, dude.
What happened to the days of Empire Strikes Back and not even the cast knowing that Darth Vader was back? You know what I mean?
But one thing I'll say though is that in the Snyder cut for Justice League, we're getting that black suit Superman.
Oh, we are.
Right.
Can't wait for that.
And hopefully we don't get CGI'd mustache out of his face.
Henry Cavill has said that he has been back on set to shoot
I fucking
things.
love Henry Cavill, dude.
Dude. Okay, look. So here's the thing, right?
We all review the new Mission Impossible.
A heterosexual male.
Yeah.
Bi-curious, but heterosexual.
I feel you.
I would let Henry Cavill fuck me.
Dude, especially when he's like the Mission Impossible got the mustache. I'm like, oh. Yeah, you can see Luke's face right now.
Not just that, but him in The Witcher with the platinum hair, dude.
Yeah,
Henry Cavill, and he's a good actor. He's a good actor.
He's a great actor. He's a great actor, and what's more is he's a total fucking bro.
Yeah.
Total bro.
Well, here's the thing about Henry Cavill. He's a great actor who started his who got launched into the spotlight in mediocre movies, being the
That's true.
Now, Man of Steel, I don't think is mediocre. I have a soft spot for that film.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I feel like I look at that movie through rose-colored glasses because it is in my knowledge, I don't know when Christopher Reeve's Superman films came out. I don't know their launch year.
The last Superman film before Man of Steel was like 2000.
But that wasn't Christopher Reeves. That was
Christopher Reeves. It was the same timeline though.
Universe.
Same universe. It was the same universe.
Superman Returns sucked ass.
Oh yes.
It was just boring.
It was bad. It was just an awful movie. And then Man of Steel came out, and I was like, "Yo, this is my." I watched Superman Returns in theaters. And I remember leaving that movie thinking that was nothing special.
Yeah.
Man of Steel came out. His fight scene with General Zod, I was like, this is Superman.
Yeah.
This is how we do this. This is the shit. Like, when he flies through that mountain and destroys that mountain and then stands up and his hair's not even out of place. I was like, this is Superman.
Yeah.
This is how you do this character.
Man, I watched that film in high school. It came
out
2014. I say high school. It was right after I graduated, that summer after I graduated.
Not 2014.
I believe it was 2014. If it wasn't,
no way.
If it was 2013, then it would have been after my junior year of high school. Either way, it was during the summers when it came out as a summer blockbuster. I went and watched it, and the only complaint I had walking out of that film, granted, I was in high school. I hadn't gone into film school yet.
2013.
So it would have been.
I had graduated summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I graduated high school May 2013.
June 14th.
So you had graduated. I had finished my junior year. That's right. Going into my senior year, I was still in high school. Didn't know. I thought I knew everything and didn't know a lick about film. I thought I knew everything.
Yeah.
But the only complaint I had walking out of there was the CGI. That sometimes towards the end was a little sus.
Yeah.
Or just it wasn't that it was sus. It was that there was just too much of it, and the CGI was no longer highlighting the film. The CGI was the film.
Yeah.
And I felt that let's see, what it was that, and the product placement was a little much.
Yeah.
Now looking back on the film retrospectively and watching the film, again, the biggest problems I have is a little too much CGI and the product placement. But outside of that, I mean, it was a mature Superman story. People complained about him killing Zod at the end, but I mean, think about it: kill Zod or Zod kills everybody.
So my thing was, everybody talks shit about it. It was like, oh, the dumbest part of that movie was when he just like screams after killing Zod, and I was like, dude, that's my favorite part of the movie.
Dude, because
this guy who doesn't want to take life, this guy who wants to like save everybody, had to make the decision to take a life, and we see the grief he bears explode out from him. I was like, that's my favorite
and the diner scene was really cool when he was
the bar scene.
The bar scene. I
think
when
he goes out and he puts the power pulse to that dude's truck.
So fucking
that was awesome.
Every scene with him and his with him and both his dads. All those scenes.
You had what was it? Lyle Rath, a YouTuber I love, did a review of it, and he was like, you had two chances at dad, and you ended both of them with no dad. You have been double de-dadded.
I think that Man of Steel, I think it's in my opinion, if I'm looking at Zack Snyder's filmography, it's his second best film. His first
Watchmen.
Watchmen is so
awesome,
fucking good.
Dude.
In fact, there's only one part of Watchmen I don't like, and it's this one shot, and it's like pulling back from the city, and it's clearly a CGI shot. And that's the only thing, though. Everything else about Watchmen, I'm fucking like here for. The changes they made.
Is he's not my favorite villain.
He's up there though.
Because my favorite villain is either Magneto or Darth Vader. I love Magneto.
Yeah.
X-Men. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, but I've always enjoyed reading X-Men comics more than Spider-Man. I love X-Men, and I fucking love Magneto. But I will concede the fact that Ozymandias is probably one of the best 3 villains ever written.
He's good. He's great.
At least from what from the things that I've experienced. I'm willing to say that from the media I have consumed, Ozymandias. Is it Ozymandias or Ozymandias? I really don't know how to say it.
Yeah,
Ozymandias.
Let me tell you.
I think Ozymandias, from the media I have consumed, is the best villain I have experienced.
And for the people listening, for all 3 of you, the thing is
let's be generous.
2.
There's 4 of them.
Yeah, right. 2. Hey man, 4 views are better than none.
Damn straight.
So the thing is we don't have. We're 2 guys who think that our conversations can be lively, funny, and thought provoking, and we think that people like to hear that. And our guests that come on like to hear that. We're not a huge podcast, right? Obviously, we don't have a team of people who are on the up to date about everything that's going on.
We don't have a Jamie or whatever the fuck his name is on what is his name?
Joe Rogan's podcast.
Joe Rogan's podcast.
Or even Not Gay Jared on Steven Crowder. Like we don't have a whole bunch of people we don't have any people to do research for us who have seen things that we haven't seen that we can talk about. Not saying that they're fake or anything. I'm saying we can only speak from things that we have seen.
Yeah.
And we have not seen. We're not all knowing. We haven't seen everything. And from what I've seen,
I'm omniscient. I don't know about you.
Well, you are, but I'm not. So my
eyes light up.
That reiterates. I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
How dare I try to compare my knowledge to God, like Luke over here?
Yeah. I know better.
Yeah. He does. Luke is the second coming of Jesus. He has the hair for it now, or he's close to it.
Almost. You're almost there, dude. I gotta go soon and get it trimmed up a little bit. Just got my dead ends cut off.
I just got a fade, so I can't say anything. My hair got pretty good.
You got a fade.
Oh! It looks more like a fucking mohawk or some shit, I guess.
Look, I remember when you had a mohawk. God, those were the days.
Dude, those were actually the days.
I would not go back to those days.
I would go back to the days right after the mohawk.
Yeah.
There was like a 3-month span where everything was great. For 3 months in 2018.
From January to April, everything
2018, everything was
2018.
It was 2018.
It was 2018. Yeah.
Everything was golden. It was pristine.
Everything was cash money. That is actually when we first became friends with Geiger.
He was working on set with us.
And putting in mad work.
Oh, dude, he was. Luke and I.
Geiger was like, I'm new here, and I need to make a good impression, and he fucking did.
Look, Luke and I don't know if we ever talked about this with you, Geiger, because Geiger went to either a community college,
which I also did, but I'm much older than you.
Yeah. So. But I didn't. I came straight here, so I've been here as long as Luke has, but Luke was in school 2 years before I was.
Wait, what was your first year here?
2014. Was it 1 year? My first year.
My first semester.
Fall 2014
here
was my first one.
Was fall 2015.
Okay.
Because I did fall through spring 2015, right. 2014. 2015.
So I was here a year before you were, but you were in college a year before I was. Luke made a comment to me. Because we were talking about you. We were talking about Geiger because we were on K-Dug's set. We were working through K-Dug's set. There was a position I felt like I was more qualified for, and I applied for it.
You definitely were. I don't know how the person
but
had
anyway,
that position got it instead of you.
But anyway, Geiger was on that set, and he was basically working under me. Mm-hmm. I was the best boy on that one.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
and so you guys were working under me, and I was kind of like trying to help Geiger through it. And Luke made a comment to me after that set. He was like, "Man." Because we were talking about you, and we were like, what do you think about Geiger? You know, we were trying to discuss him, and Luke said, man, Geiger is hungry. Yeah. Like, hungry for set, dude. He was hungry for work. And
that is not a joke about your size.
No.
That is a joke about your drive.
It wasn't even a joke. It wasn't even a joke. It was just an honest opinion about your drive for set work. Was like, man, he is hungry for this shit. And I'm like, all right, bet. And so, yeah, man, it's just, dude. Working for years now, dude. I mean, it's hard to believe that you were here. 2018 was your first semester.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Spring 2018 was his first semester.
My first film semester was spring 2016. Because my first semester here, I was a history major.
Yeah.
And then I wrote over 40 pages of essays that semester, and I said, that shit wasn't for me.
My freshman year was, my freshman semester was 2014, fall 2014. Mm-hmm. And that year, that first semester, I didn't take a single film class. I was like, let me get some of my gen eds out of the way.
Yeah, I did all of my gen ed before starting film.
Well, that second semester, I was like, I'm going to do one film class. I did screenwriting, which I didn't do so well in. I didn't apply myself for that class. But then advanced screenwriting, I made an A+. I was like, yeah. I mean, once after screenwriting, that next semester, from then on, all my film classes, I was like, I want to make A+. I want to be here for. I mean, because that's what I want to do.
Yeah,
I love film. It's like I can't half-ass it. And dude, man, It's like I took I did that screenwriting class, intro to screenwriting. I made a D, and I barely passed. But then since then, it's like I've written feature screenplays that are placed in competition, and it's like the classes here, man.
They're pretty good. Yeah,
they're pretty good.
Especially when JP is the one teaching them, dude. It's insane.
Great teacher.
Anyway, so that experience at UNA is pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
And what was next? Okay, so the next thing we wanted to talk about was we watched this recently. Has Geiger seen it yet? Between Two Ferns?
I haven't.
You haven't?
Oh. No, I have not yet.
Okay. What are you doing tomorrow night?
I'll be home. So.
Do you want to come over and watch that movie?
Sure.
It's hilarious.
Okay, sure, yeah.
So,
I'll come
for those of you who don't know, Between Two Ferns was an internet talk show that Zach Galifianakis hosted, where he sat between two ferns.
I thought it was on Adult Swim.
No, it was on Funny or Die.
I swear I thought it was on Adult Swim.
Funny or Die? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it was a Funny or Die talk show where it was like average of like 5 minutes an episode, where he would interview a celebrity, and it was a joke.
Yeah. And
it was very clearly a joke because he asked them questions that no talk show host would ask.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think the movie came out earlier this year. It may have been last year. I'm honestly not sure. I can look it up in a second to double check. But it's pretty recent. Within the last 2 years, I'm sure.
It's a fucking short movie, too.
It's an hour 22 minutes.
82 minutes. It's 82
not
minutes.
Long at all.
It's really not that long.
It
is a mockumentary about Zach Galifianakis doing an actual talk show on like cable access in like North Carolina or something.
That's his goal.
And how he wants an actual like live big talk show.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a mockumentary. He's given a deal by Will Ferrell to find 10 celebrities, interview them, give them to him for funnyordie.com, and then he will pull some strings and get Zach Galifianakis' show, and it's the mockumentary of how they get there.
Okay.
And that movie made me cry laugh. I would like to review it at some point. It's fucking hilarious.
Do you want to do like a mini review? Or do you want to do a full review of that one?
I would do like a mini review for it because it's such a short movie.
It is a short movie.
He asked.
Dude, I'm down right now. Just give it a blanket score, whatever you think funny average.
I'll probably give it a 7, just like right
7?
now.
I'll probably give it a 7 too. Yeah.
So
all right, average score for that one. You've heard it first here. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, we'll go into it later.
We'll do another one later on.
He invites at one point Keanu Reeves comes on. He interviews Keanu Reeves. And it's a spoiler alert. I'm just going to tell the jokes here because I just got to talk about it.
Yeah, spoiler alert. If you don't like it, skip about probably 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
He talks to Keanu Reeves and he's like, so I've heard you have a pretty big scar from a motorcycle accident. And Keanu Reeves is like, yeah, I got a scar from like here to here, like on his abdomen. And he's like, oh, well, I have a scar about that size. He has a big scar. He's like, oh, I have a scar that size. And Keanu Reeves is like, oh, yeah? He's like, yeah, I have a pretty big scar on my leg. He's like, oh, how'd you get that? And he says, oh, I walked out of the movie Lake House. Cut my leg on the chair in front of me. And then he asks Keanu Reeves. He says, do you research your roles? Keanu Reeves tells him yes, and he's like, have you ever considered getting a job as a character who takes acting lessons?
No.
Oh, by the way, here's the scar, by the way, if you haven't seen it, that's the scar.
It's pretty big, yeah.
It's
Oh,
pretty big.
Jesus.
It looks like it'd probably be about a 5 or 6 inch scar. Probably about what it was.
It's pretty big, but
Oh my God.
very funny movie. It's on Netflix. If you haven't seen it and you have access to Netflix, I highly recommend it.
Can we just take a second to talk about how fucking amazing Keanu Reeves is? I'm so glad he had a career turnaround, dude. We are all blessed for Keanu Reeves having a career turnaround. He's gonna play Constantine again.
Finally.
Well, it's because of how popular he is.
John Wick 3.
I haven't either.
Look,
We need to watch
I'll be completely
me too,
honest.
yeah.
I haven't seen any of them actually.
Dude, I have
And
one. He has 2. We
want
can have like a 3-movie marathon.
Yeah.
Sometime.
It's like I really would like to. We need to set a plan for it.
It's great.
We can review them here if we want to. We can make it like a 3-week.
Great movies.
Do all 3 of them, something like that. I don't care. But the Keanu Sans, dude, Keanu Reeves, dude,
He's also we're getting another Matrix movie.
Dude, he's a fucking nice guy,
on
dude.
Matrix movie.
Yeah,
he
seems like a pretty great guy.
So and I actually watched Constantine recently over Thanksgiving break. I watched it.
Nice.
And with extended family, and it was really really cool. Actually, I enjoyed it immensely.
Hell yeah.
So, but that was just my little praise of Keanu Reeves. And we will do probably a mini review of Between Two Ferns. I don't think it's something that I would want to go a full end of episode review on.
We just do it as like an extra little episode.
Yeah, but it is if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's worth the watch. It's funny. Zach Galifianakis, he's hilarious. He's about as funny as he was he's about funnier even maybe. But the funniest he's been since like Hangover. Like he is.
I think he was funnier in this movie than Hangover. Personally,
the first Hangover, obviously.
Have y'all seen 2 and 3?
No, I've only seen.
I've seen the second one.
Okay, don't watch 2 and 3.
I saw the second one. I was like, oh, you mean it's just the first one, but in a different city? Bet.
That's what everyone has told me not to watch the second.
It's not good.
One.
So, Hangover should have ended with one movie.
Didn't the guy who made
Todd Phillips.
Todd Phillips. He made the Joker movie.
Yeah,
actually.
he made the Joker.
Hey, Joker movie. Joker was good.
Talk about a turnaround.
Yeah. Well, The Hangover was really good, and then the sequels were trash, and then Joker. Hey,
awful.
So Alantis and Warbreaker was the last. Before we get to our review, that was the last big topic you wanted to talk about.
So, talked a lot about Brandon Sanderson in our podcasts. Brandon Sanderson has this entire universe that he has created called the Cosmere, and I am currently on a journey to read all of the published works of the Cosmere. I've read, it goes Alantis, Mistborn Era 1, Warbreaker, Mistborn Era 2, minus the final book, and then Stormlight Archive, book 1 through 4. This year, the final book of Era 2 of Mistborn is supposed to come out, and there's a bunch of like short stories and novellas that he's released. I've read Era 1 of Mistborn, and I've read all the Stormlight books. I finished Elantris, his first published book, about a week and a half ago, give or take. And it was okay. Very clearly his first book. It's like set in a world where there are these godlike beings that live in a city called Elantris, known as the Elantrians. And they have like shining metallic skin, and at random there is an event called the Sheod that happens to just random people throughout the world. And then they could like wake up in the morning and then they're an Elantrian. So they move to Elantris and they live with the Elantrians and they become gods. And then one day an event happened and all of the Elantrians turned from like shining metallic skinned gods into diseased lepers. And then they were wiped out. But the Sheod didn't stop. It still hit random people, and it takes people, when it transforms them, it doesn't transform them into the shining gods of Elantris, it turns them into the diseased lepers. And so it's a story told from three characters' point of view. Raoden, who is the prince of the nation that surrounds Elantris. First chapter, he wakes up and he finds that he has been taken by the Sheod and he gets sent to Elantris to live in like suffering for the rest of his life. His betrothed, who in the first chapter gets off the boat to marry him to find out that he has died because the king told everybody he died instead of telling them that he became an Elantrian. And another character named Hrathen, who... his name is Heathen, but with the first E replaced with an R. He is a priest of this other religion who has been sent to this kingdom to convert them, and they have 90 days to convert, and if they don't, that god will wipe the country off the earth. And it's like Raoden doing his thing in Elantris, trying to return Elantris to its former glory, while Hrathen and his betrothed, whose name I cannot remember right now. It's like political intrigue with them as they try to like work against each other to achieve their goals. It's okay. Like I said, very clearly his first book. But I finished that and now I'm reading Warbreaker, which he wrote after Mistborn Era 1 but before Stormlight. I'm only on chapter 2. But I am already enjoying it far more than I enjoyed Elantris. And one thing I like, that because his world is, his universe, it's all tied in, there is a character in the Stormlight Archive named Zahel, it's spelled Zahel, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And I always thought that he was very intriguing because he could do these strange things that nobody else in the book could do. And it's because he's not from Roshar. He's actually a world hopper from the world that Warbreaker takes place. And he has all of the Warbreaker powers, and that's why he can do these crazy things. And it's really cool just to see how all of these things work together. Very interesting. I love the book so far. Can't wait to get further in.
Something I really appreciate about our show, because we're very media focused. Media in the I mean, we do talk about documentaries. We've reviewed a documentary. We do talk about things that are actively happening, but a lot of our media is fictional that we talk about on here. And one of the things I appreciate about our show is there are things that you have seen and read that I haven't read or seen, and so it's always
and vice versa.
Although I will say it is mostly you have seen read the things that I think I've seen some things you haven't seen, but you've read a lot that I haven't read or heard about. And so it's a lot of the things that you bring up are things that are new to me, and also new to anybody who listens.
Yeah, I think you would like Warbreaker.
I might. Is it so it's like high fantasy or
it's high fantasy.
Bet. I've been I know you and Molly both get into high fantasy, urban fantasy, fantasy in general. I've always been more on a sci-fi kick my entire life. That's really
sci-fi is pretty cool.
I mean, I read the Halo novels, the Star Wars novels. You know,
I read Path of Destruction recently. Dune, it was really good.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I'm on the second book right now. Path of Destruction is the Darth Bane book, the first one of a trilogy.
Right? Yeah.
And I read it in high school. I even wrote a short film in high school that I wanted to make with my friends, just about Darth Bane. I'm glad we didn't do it.
Thank God,
but I had a whole thing. I even wrote like a feature stage play based on it. Look, imagine a Star Wars stage play. That shit would be dope as fuck.
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
It's like the Harry Potter stage play, the freaking Cursed Child. Although the one that Austin McConnell helped write, and then the one that actually got written, and they actually, they did that. The stage play, obviously everybody, a lot of backlash for the Cursed Child.
Yeah.
Austin McConnell did a video on that, and he said he made a video about the things that went wrong with it, and then he made a video about how he would do it, and then somebody took that video that he made about how he would do it, took inspiration and things from that, and then wrote a new Cursed Child stage play about how they would see it.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
And then they did it.
That's cool.
They did it in a small. It's called the Hobgoblin Theater in L.A. It got into a festival, and they did it. They actually did it. Austin McConnell went out there and saw it. So
nice.
But the whole thing is it's like just seeing a lot of these things I don't know about until you speak about them on the podcast.
Yeah.
And so it's like people that are listening that haven't heard it are kind of in the same shoes that I am. I just think that's really cool to have. That dynamic and that relation to the audience, to be able to see it the way that they do.
All right, so let's dive into this review, baby.
Right before we do that, we would like to thank our sponsor, Rate.
No.
Anyway. I can only dream.
Yeah, right.
Have that kind of dope. But don't forget, before we do this, don't forget we are going to be doing a giveaway.
Yep. So
don't forget to like and comment, and if you feel generous, subscribe if you want to see more of this.
Not required for the giveaway.
Not required.
But like and comment.
And we will randomly select from the comments. We'll randomly select a winner. And we're going to talk about Tenet. Now, the thing that we do is we don't just think of a movie we've seen before and okay, let's review it. We always watch them right before we review them.
Yeah.
Either the day of or the day before. Within the couple of days of
reviewing, 48 hours of the podcast, we
watch it and we have a fresh view on it. So Luke and I first saw it in theaters together.
Mm-hmm. We saw it twice in theaters.
Well, the first time we went to the biggest theater we could find, the Monaco in Huntsville, and then the second time we watched it with Geiger too. Mm-hmm. And now today,
it was me, you, Molly, Geiger, and Addison, I believe, at the Monaco.
Yeah, Addison.
And not the Monaco, but in Florence.
In Florence.
Sorry, I said Monaco.
And the third time we've watched it was today. Mm-hmm. Literally right before we did
Blu-ray. We watched it. We cut it off. We took bathroom breaks, and then we started the podcast.
Right.
So it's fresh on our minds.
Fresh on our minds. And we're gonna all three of us, and we're gonna dive right into this.
Right in.
We're not gonna start doing the ranking system yet of our numbers. You know what I mean? We're not gonna start plugging in numbers yet. We're gonna discuss the film.
Yeah.
I think it's an awesome film, and by awesome I mean the awe, the scope.
There are things in this movie, like in many of Christopher Nolan's films, that I was just like, man, I've never thought about that being a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the way they do the inversion, I was like, I've never thought about that.
Yep.
Can't say it makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've never thought about it. But if you don't think about it, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Listen, this film is... There are a couple of scenes, specifically three key scenes in this film, where I legitimately had my jaw drop, and I looked over at Luke to see if anybody else was feeling the way I felt. He looked at me with the same expression, and I just was trying to comprehend what I was visually looking at, because it was so awe-inspiring, and just... I was trying to comprehend in the great way. I was like, how do I comprehend what's going on in front of me right now?
I was watching this and I was just like, what? the fuck.
It was insane.
So if you haven't seen the movie, we're gonna give like a quick little rundown of the story.
We're about to get into spoiler territory.
Main character, John David Washington. He's the protagonist.
That is his name.
Yeah, that is his name.
He doesn't. His name. We
he
don't
is
know his
credited
name.
as the protagonist.
Yep.
John David Washington works for the CIA.
Yes. Worked, but at the beginning of the film.
He works for the CIA. He is captured in a mission, and he takes a cyanide pill to kill himself before he can be tortured into giving up classified information.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Wakes up on a boat, finds out it was a test, and then he is sent to join an organization called Tenet.
Mm-hmm.
Tenet is working to stop the time apocalypse.
Basically.
Yeah.
He is given some leads, ends up meeting a character named Neil, who is played by Robert Pattinson.
Yep.
They become friends. They work together to do all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
They go to this airport to steal a portrait, and there's this super cool scene in an airport where he fights this guy.
That was the first of the 3 key scenes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they keep going, and they find out there's this like Russian oligarch who's out to cause the time apocalypse. And then they work together to stop him from doing that, and then they join a bigger group that is a military group, and then they end up having
that's my watch. I apologize.
this huge battle where like half of the force is moving forward through time, and the other half is moving backwards through time, and then they stop the apocalypse, but it is, as we know at the end of the film, at the cost of Neil's life.
Yep.
And there's a very emotional scene between the protagonist and Neil that is, in my opinion, the epitome of bromance and the best part of the movie.
Let me tell. Well, I'll agree with you. The epitome of bromance. I don't agree with you that it's the best part of the movie.
It's my favorite part of the movie.
It's one of my favorites, but let me tell you, this film banks and thrives off of its visuals and off of its editing and its technical production. My favorite scene, and it's hard to call it one or two scenes. It is two different scenes, but it's the same scene if you look at it a certain way. And it's the scene at this airport. You see the scene twice in the film. We're getting into big spoiler territories. So if you haven't seen it, you can skip to the end of the video. But don't forget, at the end of the video, we
are doing a giveaway.
Yep. And
well, we say at the end of the video we're doing the giveaway. You gotta like and comment. That's the giveaway.
But don't forget, we also put music at the end of the videos. At the end of the podcast. If you're listening to this on the individual review, you're not going to hear that. So go watch the actual podcast. Yeah. So
like and comment on the just review, and you won't be in the giveaway. Like and comment on the podcast, giveaway.
Well, by the time that the just review is up, you missed the deadline.
Anyway,
you missed that
moving
deadline.
Forward.
So, they're at this airport, and basically John David Washington and the protagonist and Neil need to get into this specific room to find out what's in there because they know something is in there that they need. So they plan this whole, basically almost a heist scene.
Yeah, pretty much.
They need to trigger certain things to make things happen. That stuff's, it's cool. It's not important to what I'm about to say. They get into this room and they find this turnstile with a glass wall between them. John David Washington goes on one side, Neil goes on the other. And they're walking through, and there's bullet holes in the glass, and there's a dismantled gun on the floor, and there's smoke in the room, and they're like, what happened here? And John David Washington's character says, what happened here hasn't happened yet. He realized what's going on, because at this point he knows about the inversion that happens. And then the turnstiles move, and then one of the coolest scenes in the entire movie, one of the coolest scenes in just about any movie I've ever seen takes place. This man in a SWAT suit, two men in a SWAT suit, one on one side, one on the other, come out, and And John David Washington, who is moving forward in time, has a fist fight through a hallway with a guy who is moving backwards in time. They are moving in two different directions in time, and they are actively fighting each other at that moment. And it is so fucking cool. Mm-hmm. I swear to God, dude. I tried comprehending how that works, and it makes sense. The longer I think about it, the more I can figure out how that makes sense. But in the moment, I was like, I don't know. I don't understand how, but this is so fucking cool.
Yeah, but the spoiler is the protagonist is fighting himself.
Yeah.
So later in the film, they go through the hallway and they do the fight, and the character, the guy in the SWAT suit with a gas mask on, you can't see his face, gets sucked out of the building by something, and you don't really know what that was because he's inverted. So everything he does is, you'll figure in a second. They come back to the airport later on, and John David Washington and Neil are inverted by this point, and they need to go back to the airport. John David Washington zips up right before they get out, and he's wearing the SWAT uniform. And then you realize he was the guy in the SWAT suit. So he runs into he goes up to this like gate or whatever that pulls down, and he gets sucked underneath. He gets blown underneath it from an explosion, and that's what sucked him out the first time, and we didn't realize that. He gets blown underneath, and then the fight scene, we see the fight scene again, the same fight scene, but from his perspective, and it's so fucking cool.
It is
it's so fucking cool.
It's out of this world.
And then when he gets back into the room, he sees that he needs to jump in the turnstile to go forward in time, because the turnstile is what shifts you between inverted and normal. Mm-hmm. He's inverted right now. He needs to get normal, so he jumps into it, and he comes out on the other side, and we realize that second man that was fighting in the first time was also him. Mm-hmm. And he comes out and he runs past, and it's so fucking cool. I mean, it's hard to explain. It really is. I know I'm not doing the best job explaining.
If you haven't seen it,
dude,
we're sorry if you don't get this. You just kind of gotta watch it yourself. It's awesome.
Those two scenes, which it's almost like saying one scene because it's the same location, but it's at different times. But it's also not. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's crazy good.
You gotta see that. And the other key scene that just blew my fucking mind was at the end of the film. It's this entire raid on this like compound where the MacGuffin is, and it's two military teams doing a temporal pincer maneuver,
which is what they call it in the film.
Yep. One team is moving forward in time on the attack. The other team is moving reverse. So what they do is they have a team go an hour, like just go through the whole day, and then they get into a turnstile and they go backwards through the entire event. And then they take that information that they learn about how the battle goes, and they give it to the other team, who an hour before the event will go through, and then they wind up going through at the same time. And there is this one moment in that pincer maneuver. It's at the 5 minute mark into the pincer maneuver that blows my mind every time I saw it, every time I've seen it. And it's this building, and both teams RPG the building, one going forward in time, one going in reverse. So the building like explodes at the top, and then as it's falling, it rebuilds itself, and then explodes again at the bottom. It's so fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's so good.
But you've got to see it.
But the story itself is okay.
Yeah.
It's something we've seen. It's a fresh take on something we've seen multiple times. It's a good guy has to stop the apocalypse.
Literally in the trailer, they're like, I think we're preventing World War III. I'm like, oh, when have we heard that before?
Yeah.
Stopping World War III? Oh.
Yeah. The story, it's alright. I personally probably give it like a 6.5.
So are we starting the numbers? We're going to start going to the numbers.
Let's go ahead and get into that.
All right. Yeah, the writing, if he's writing in the script, I haven't read the script. I don't have access to the script. Yeah. If he's writing in the scenes where it's going backwards and forward, right, like the temporal pincer, which I assume he has to write those scenes out, it's big brain theory time. Yeah. You know what I mean? But in the individual moments of like the personal moments, the dialogue.
There's literally a scene where a character says, "If I can't have you, then no one else can." And I was just like,
and the motivations of these characters. You know, the main baddie wants to destroy the world because he's dying from cancer, and he wants everyone to go down with him. That's essentially his motivation.
Yeah.
you have to. It's just the writing is when it's talking about the scientific stuff and the things that like we came to see, it's on point. But when it gets into the personal relationships and things like that, Christopher Nolan has this tendency to just say generic things. Yeah. I don't know how better way to write it. He writes. I would not want to see a Christopher Nolan rom-com, a romantic drama, because it would just be.
And he knows that he'll never do that.
It's on everything that the characters feel are on their sleeve.
Yep.
There's no subtlety to it, which isn't the why you go to see a Christopher Nolan film. It's not why you go to see a blockbuster, but you can't ignore it that it's there. Yeah. And I have to agree with you. Like, what did you say? 6.5?
6.5.
6.5. I think I just agree with that number. Straight.
What about you, Geiger? What do you think?
I give it 6.5 too.
All right, fair enough.
I think I agree.
We're all agreed on that.
However, the next part, I think we will also be in just about agreement on. The cinematography is fucking phenomenal.
It's so good, dude.
So good.
It was shot on film, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty sure.
I think
that is correct.
I mean, just and the way that they. Christopher Nolan, the scenes that we talked about with the airport and them going forward and backward, he shot those scenes both ways. Mm-hmm. He shot it backwards in time, as in like they moved it following like had people moving in reverse, and they shot it with people moving forward.
And there's one scene in the film with the protagonist that is very clear that they filmed that scene. And then we watch it in reverse.
Yeah,
It's when he comes out and he gets in the car.
I still love it, dude. Mm-hmm.
It's
so good,
awesome.
It looks so good,
but it is very clear that they shot that entire scene and then they played it in reverse for the film, and it's fucking awesome.
It's great. It's so good because it really. They talk about when you run, the wind will be at your back. Mm-hmm. Gravity works the same, but when you're driving, he's like, "Can I drive a car?" It's like I can't vouch for the handling because the wind resistance will be coming from behind instead of in front of. Mm-hmm. It's so fucking cool. The cinematography, though, I mean, there was like one shot where I was like, I feel like they could have shot that one part a little better, but that was when he took the cyanide pill that we talked about. Yeah. That shot was a little sus. But everything else is just gorgeous. Feast your eyes on the visuals here.
It's really good.
I mean, I would go so far as to give the cinematography like an 8.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say 8.5. Yeah,
8.5.
I mean, just downright great. Mm-hmm. I hate that we were like 6.5 for the writing, 8.5 for the cinematography, and now we're gonna talk about the acting.
Okay.
I wish we could judge this. Part of me wishes we could judge this based off of just the main characters, but we can't.
Yeah, you can't.
John David Washington, Robert Pattinson give a pretty stellar performance.
Mm-hmm. I even was thinking about it while we watched the film today. I was like, it's so nice to have another generation of the Washingtons acting. We had Denzel Washington. I grew up watching his movies, and now it's like, oh man, we've got his son now, and after Black Klansman, and then this, it's like, oh, he's here to stay. Yeah, he gives a good performance. He's really good.
Him and Robert Pattinson give good performances, and that is it.
And oddly enough, about his performance, he had good comedic timing.
Yeah,
I ordered my hot sauce an hour ago.
So anyway, but everybody else in the movie is very dry. Like, what's the name of the guy who plays the bad guy? I know you said it earlier. Kenneth Branagh.
Choose it.
He at every point in the film, every line he delivers, it feels like before he said that line, he looked off screen at the script and then read the line to you. He does not give a good performance.
And we know he can give great performances, he just didn't. He wasn't able to connect it in this film.
It was just
his Russian accent was the default hokey Russian accent everybody gives. I am Reznov. I am angry. You cannot have this. It's the same one you hear in everything. There was nothing new to it. Why did he have to be Russian? At that point, there was no reason for him to have to be Russian.
Yeah,
true.
There was no reason for him to have to be Russian. The only reason for him to be Russian is there is a very quick scene in which we see him as a teenager. It's literally, there's not even any dialogue in that scene itself. He's recounting when he was a teenager and he was recovering nuclear something. What was it? What was he trying to do?
He was like cleaning up after a nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
A nuclear reactor failure, something like in Russia or Pripyat or some shit. There was no. He could have been other things. They could have reworked that somehow, because him being Russian is like, if you want to make him Russian, that's cool. Get somebody who can do a good Russian accent, and get somebody who can play that part right. Kenneth Branagh was not. He was not. At no point did I feel intimidated by the villain of this film.
No.
What I think is that they watched Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit, because he played a Russian in that film too, and Christopher Nolan was probably like, I got my Russian. There he is.
It was like freaking George Lucas watching damn Goosebumps and seeing Hayden Christensen be like, "That's my Anakin right there." Ha, ha, ha. I love the way he's reacting to that dummy. Ha, ha. He was in the Night of the Dummy or some shit like that. But anyway, Kenneth Branagh, I forget her name, but she plays Kat in the film.
Mm-hmm. She did okay. Like Debicki, I think.
She was in The Night Manager too.
Haven't seen that.
She does alright. She's good. She's good. She's good with the dialogue that she's given,
which isn't great.
Yeah,
but she's okay. She gives good effort, and she gives a good performance. It's a good performance with for an underwritten character.
That is true. Her character is definitely underwritten.
But Kenneth Branagh, his character's almost overwritten for what
he knows, right?
Like, man, it's just like, man, the film, I'll be like sucked in, I'll be like, oh man, this is really good, and then he opens his mouth.
And I'm just like, oh, come on.
I'm like, man, let's
Can we fast forward the scene?
The first time I saw the movie, I was like, this is dragging a little bit with his dialogue. I'm like, let's get it on. And then second time I watched it, I was like, okay, I know this scene doesn't go on forever, so I'm not as crazy about it. I'm not gonna be upset too much about it. Kind of skip through, so it's like, I want to give it a bad score for the acting, but I also want to give it a good score, because at least the two people you see the most give really good performances.
I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna go another 6.
6.
6.
I was gonna,
because like, if I was Pattinson and John David Washington, they do a good job, but it's everything else. It's just not good.
And it's like the other...
Like, I don't know his name, the guy that played Ives. He was Ives.
He's Ives. It was,
but everybody else, dude.
And some of the bit parts were still pretty good, but still, I have to agree with you.
Michael Caine
did pretty good.
He did pretty good.
That's because he played the same character that Christopher Nolan wants him to play.
Mm-hmm. Every fucking
time.
Okay, the directing.
I think the directing was excellent.
I think
acting wasn't great, but like seeing.
So, it's the vision.
Yeah.
For the film that I think were the directing, like, he had to direct those scenes where they shot in reverse, and the scenes where, so it's like, when we're talking about the directing again, it's kind of,
can't be easy.
When we're talking about the directing for the personal scenes where it's two characters having a dramatic moment between each other, I'm like,
but wait a minute, what do you guys give the acting? You didn't say that.
I agreed with you about a 6.
Yeah, I agree with the 6.
Okay, 6 sounds about right to me. But when we're talking about scenes where characters are giving like personal conviction, and they're having this moment that should be dramatic and we should be swept up in the moment, I'm just like, who do I blame the bad performance? Is it the writing? Part of it is it the direction? Probably a little bit. It's the same direction that told it's the direction that told Kenneth Branagh, yeah man, your Russian accent's great, don't change it, you're good.
You just tell her that if she can't be with you, then she'll be with anybody.
Yeah, how do you want me to deliver this? Deliver it as if you really got to go take a shit, but you got to film this scene first.
Yes.
That's how I want you to deliver it. Deliver it like you're constipated.
Yeah. It's not great.
It's not great for those scenes, but when you look at the scope of the film and the direction at least, if I didn't know the director, I wouldn't know this, but I know the director, like, at the way that he works. He has a lot of control over just about every aspect of his film, so I recognize that he was looking at a full scope, and he gives these personal moments that we keep ragging on, these performances. He's like, let me get these just so I can get to the stuff that people come to see. I know that's what he's doing.
He knows over there.
Yeah.
the scope of the film, because even those scenes are very usually quick, because they're underdeveloped scenes. It's like, let's just get through this. The audience gets the information they need to know, so we can do the cool stuff that everybody wants to come and see. It's great. It's fine. Still gonna critique it, but as the direction, the scope of the film, he seems to understand exactly what he wanted, and he got it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it might not have been what we wanted.
May not be everything that we wanted, but I got the things that I wanted from the film, which was
cool action,
but not just cool action, because I mean I can get cool action in a lot of other directors' films.
You can get cool action in Clone Wars.
Yeah. New ideas, which is exactly what we got.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of new ideas, and I think his way of controlling and manipulating time in the film was something that we haven't seen before, and his direction. And understanding that on set, like, hey, we have to shoot this a certain way so that the editor later on can cut it together this way is really good. So I would give the direction. It is not as high as it would be if we're not counting those dramatic scenes, the quote-unquote dramatic scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're counting the scenes, if we're counting everything as a whole, I would give it a 7 out of 10.
I was thinking the exact same thing, yeah.
7 out of 10.
Which is above average.
It is above average.
Production design.
I thought the production design was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of practical effects in this film that worked out really well.
I liked all of the costumes, the outfits that they put John David Washington in are downright snack material.
We watched the film and just damn at the suits that John David Washington was wearing, and we actually one of the reasons
he shows up in a suit that I was like, dude, I would be lucky to afford a suit like that in my life. And then Michael Caine's like, you look kind of pitiful. Slides my credit card and goes, you better look the part. And I was like, are you serious? Are you for real right now?
Look, we were there's a suit shop in town. And Luke and I both liked the idea of having suits and shit. Mm-hmm. And so one day we went to go browse. We both walked out buying a suit. One of the reasons I bought a suit is I had just seen Tenet. And let me tell you, looking at John David Washington wearing a suit, I'm like, bro, I need to get myself a suit. Because dude, the costume design was really well done. The scene, even when they're not wearing a suit, when they did the rappel up the building, that shit looked dope as fuck.
Even the side characters, the Russian, he wore things I would like. He's a business guy. He's got a rich life, and he likes to be casual when he's not doing that life. I believe that this character would wear those things.
And also the color too. I mean, the dresses that Kat was wearing. I mean, one of the things that stood out to me was the sequence in which Kat was reverse shot with a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
The red dress.
The red
lovely dress.
It's not even that it looks good. It just it fits the tone of what's going to come and what's happening. Kind of like J.J. Abrams does with red shirts. But spoiler alert, she lived. At least through that scene, I'm not gonna give you the whole thing. But
nah, I will.
You will? Okay, yeah, she makes it. She makes it. She lives. Ooh, find out. Click on the end and find out what happened.
Click this video for a spoiler, for a Tenet spoiler.
Like and subscribe. No, okay. So I think the costume design was very well done. With my limited knowledge of costume designing, I think it was well done. There was nothing that I saw where I thought to myself, that doesn't seem to fit. Everything fit just about right. Granted, everybody looks fly in this fucking movie. Like Jesus,
everybody looks fly.
I feel like
the fucking bodyguards.
Billy Reed was like, let me get this shit straight. Like, What do you think for the production design? And that's not just including costume. We're talking about set.
Yeah,
a lot of it was practical. They were filming in places where they built things to film on.
Mm-hmm. I give it an 8.
An 8. I think that's pretty fair.
8. Yeah.
And even the military uniforms they were wearing in the end were very unique.
Yep.
The helmets really all of it was unique to me. The algorithm, which is the thing that the MacGuffin, which is an algorithm that we're all after.
They call it.
It's these pieces of blocks that are put together, and we think that's like some sort of supercomputer that has the knowledge of how to invert. And when that knowledge is destroyed, then the world will. If that knowledge is destroyed, and it's only with one person, that person will use that knowledge to reverse the entire world back into non-existence and take everybody with them. And with that, for that matter, wouldn't it just be the universe at that point?
Possibly would be.
But the way that they designed the blocks for that thing, I thought was really cool. It was unique. I was like, oh, it's actually a physical thing that they have to find.
It was like a weird totem pole almost.
Yeah, it was really cool. So we give that an 8. The next one is sound design. So there's been the meme has been that the music gets so loud that you can't hear the dialogue. The thing is, when I saw it in theaters, I didn't have that problem. Same. I didn't miss dialogue. I didn't always understand what they were saying as far as like a theoretical level goes. Like I don't really understand what this means.
Yeah.
But I did. I did hear every word.
Every word.
Yeah. I never had that problem, so I don't really understand that joke completely. We watched it on the TV today and not in the surround sound theater, and I had some problem understanding some of the dialogue sometimes, but I don't know if that was the music's fault. Because the only time the music felt like it was overriding the dialogue was in a scene where we were listening to a character talk, and then it would flash forward just a little bit, and we were seeing like something they were talking about. And the music was overriding what was happening in that scene specifically. They were walking through a building. A tour guide was explaining something to them, and we couldn't really hear what the tour guide was saying.
We had to turn on the subtitles halfway through the movie.
But I don't think that we were meant to understand what that guy was saying.
Yeah, I feel like that was intentional. On purpose.
We did turn on the subtitles, but I think that's just because we had at the time that we turned on the subtitles, we had the TV too low. And I was like, dude, we gotta crank this shit up. And I couldn't even get the remote to work, so I was like, throw the subtitles on so I can at least make sure I'm fully...
Yeah, my TV remote blows.
But I think that... I think the sound design was alright. The reverse sounds were really cool. Especially...
Yeah, everybody's talking in reverse and shit.
Well, especially the second time we went to the airport, and like there was this like... Even just hearing normal sounds, not only sounded reverse, they sounded like they were coming into our ear in a way that was like, it was like, you know, and it wasn't just the sound of something moving backwards, it was the sound of particles coming out of our ear instead of into our ear, if that makes sense. Like, just the ambience felt different, and it felt...
Which I think it succeeded at very well, yeah.
So I think the sound design was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it.
You're the sound guy of the group, Geiger. So, like, what did you think about it?
So what I think happened is because when these films, like Christopher Nolan's films, have a thing where, like, especially when it comes to DVD, they always are notorious for not being that great on a small TV, or even if you have a big TV. What it is because it's that 5.1 surround system that they edit with. It's because of that. That's why it gets lost. When it transfers over to DVD, it gets like, So, I think that's what happened with this, and it's a shame because it really is a good sound design, well-designed film for sound.
For the 5.1.
Yes, for the 5.1 surround, which is what every movie theater has, and if you haven't, a wonderful home
sound system?
Yeah, for a sound system, it will be phenomenal for you. But, like, if you're watching on just your normal TV, you might need to throw on the subtitles.
Fair enough.
So you think they were thinking... I think maybe when they were making the sound mix for this, they were like, oh, yeah, everyone's going to come see this in theater.
Yes.
2020 is not going to be that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
COVID doesn't exist yet. It will be fine.
See, yeah, exactly.
And then it's like, oh, everyone's going to have to watch this at home, apparently.
But...
Fuck.
Yeah. That's the great thing about Nolan's films, like, especially with this. Like, he has always been phenomenal at his films have always been phenomenal with their sound design.
These movies are made to see in theaters.
Oh yeah.
It's like Blade Runner 2049. I love that film. I've never got the chance to see it in theaters.
I did.
At my at my local,
it was great.
At the university we have theater viewing rooms. I went in there and rented it out and watched it. Did a double feature, Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. Watched it. They have a surround sound, so that was good. The projector is not the best, but it does what it gets by. These films are made to be seen on a big screen with the loudest speakers that you can find.
The only Nolan North film.
Christopher
Nolan. Jesus Christ. The only Christopher Nolan film that I can think of that I did not see in theaters was Interstellar.
Dude.
And I really wish I had seen that in theaters.
It was so good.
I don't know if I've ever seen a Christopher Nolan film. No, I saw Dunkirk. We saw Dunkirk. It's the only one I saw in theaters of his work.
Dang.
Tenet.
Tenet. Before Tenet. I mean, before Tenet. Before Tenet was Dunkirk. But before that, I'd only caught his stuff later on. I didn't see The Dark Knight in theaters. I didn't see Dark Knight Rises
in theaters.
I did too.
Yeah, I think I saw
Memento. I didn't see Memento in theaters.
Yeah,
I don't think you were old enough to see that one in theaters. That was like 2001, 2000. I don't know if.
I don't remember when it came out.
Yeah, it was a very old film.
So what do you give the sound, Geiger?
I give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10? That's pretty good. All right.
I was gonna be like 7.5.
Well, I was gonna be like 8.5.
8.5. So would that be 8.25 would be in the middle there, or?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. You give it a 9. You give it a 7.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems about right. It's 8.25.
Right. So what we do is, Geiger, I don't know if you're familiar with the way that we format this, is we take the average for each score of what we collectively agree on, and all three of us had a different one for that one.
Yeah.
The score, fucking baller,
awesome.
baller,
out of this world, dude. The
baller.
music is great.
I'm talking about
music might be, apart from the action, of course, the music's probably the best part of the film.
It's fucking great.
It helps.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, there is one song that I kind of feel was like a rip of a song that was an Annihilation.
Yeah.
Still a good song.
Yeah.
Great
Still
song.
a good piece. Yeah.
Not too much to say about it. I give it like an 8.5.
I can say stuff about it. I bought that. I downloaded that shit off iTunes.
Hell yeah.
After seeing the movie, I was like, give me that soundtrack. I listen to that while I write, and I've written like a couple of screenplays listening to that music.
Hell
I'm like,
yeah.
yo, this shit's so fucking, dude. The freaking like it sounds like they're using the what's that thing? It's like a flat pad that you have, and you're like, it's like
xylophone.
It's not a xylophone, but it's like a xylophone. But it's like tubes, and you don't have the keys on top.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what they're called.
There was that one dude that looked kind of like me on there, like he was doing it. But it sounded like that to me, dude. It sounds in reverse a little bit too. Like they play with the reverse and forward. It's so dude. The score for this film, it's in my opinion, the composer, it's his second best work. Mandalorian being his first.
I think it's his third best. It's the same dude that composed the Black Panther, and I think that the music was the second best part of that film, right behind the production design.
I think that Black Panther is a good film, really good film. The soundtrack is great, but looking at his specific sound, his compositions for films, I think Black Panther is his third best. I think Mandalorian.
So Mandalorian's out of this world.
Oh, yeah.
But I think, dude, this soundtrack, man, I can only speak for myself, but dude, as far as like being able to listen to it on repeat value without having to think of I can listen to this soundtrack and I can write so many different things to it. If I listen to the Black Panther soundtrack, I was like, okay, I can only imagine specific things going with this, but that's so it's like a universal soundtrack for Tenet, dude. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
What do you think, man?
I give it an 8.5.
8.5?
I go with an 8 too.
I was gonna go 9, but so I think 8.5 is not bad.
Yeah, that kind of averages out. Yeah.
So special effects, baller.
Yeah. Out of this world.
Out of this world.
Which you come to expect from.
I mean,
highbrow.
As far as anything CGI, it was
action-packed films like that. Yeah, it really was.
I didn't notice anything that felt.
Yeah, there's no point in the film where you're just like, oh, that was made by a computer.
Yeah.
I genuinely could not find, like, I was looking for lines. I was looking for
you can't find
anything that
like
might not be at the same frame rate. You know, anything that I typically look for in films that might stand out, because I edit a lot, and I was looking for things that might stand out that I can see. It's like, oh, that's digital. You know, with this film shot on film and then using digital special effects and CGI, I was like, I couldn't find any.
Same.
I'm not saying they're not there. They're there. I just could not see the lines that would tell me that those are fake.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is so good. The muzzle flares going in reverse. The guys who did that, I mean, it's just so fucking
it's so good.
The special effects, man, that team, the team that he has, because Christopher Nolan is known for his practical effects, which I still count as special effects, the practical effects.
Yeah. His
team that he has, that he brings on for these films, Dark Knight Rises was one of those big ones. Interstellar, and now Tenet. I mean, his special effects team that he brings on for his films is phenomenal. They never slouch. They didn't slouch in this one. I almost wanted to put it under cinematography, but if you do that, it kind of gets buried.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be, because these guys have killed it in just about every one that they've collaborated with Christopher Nolan on. It's so good. It's seamless.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, this is one of those I'd be like definitely a 9 on. I mean, I'd
give it a 9. Yeah.
9. Yeah.
I rarely ever do. The only way that it could be a 10 for me, that it could go higher, maybe bump up to a 10, would be if there was. It's almost kind of you can't give it a 10, but you want to give it something higher than a 9, because it's like it is seamless, and I can't tell where it is. But it's also, there was no point watching the film where I was like, oh, this is a huge grand thing that had to be done digitally or in practical. Like the biggest one was the building explosion, but I'm pretty sure they did most of that in camera. But I still couldn't see the lines.
Yeah.
But it's like if I could find a moment in the film where I could see the line, it'd almost be like, oh, that makes this other part seem even bigger.
Yeah.
So I think 9 is a fair review.
I agree.
Yeah.
For that.
Pretty good.
9. Yeah.
So, pacing for the film. It struggles early.
Yeah.
But it gets a lot faster and better as the film goes on.
It does.
Yeah.
But even as the film goes on, you still have those
moments.
boring, emotion-driven moments.
If I can't have you, no one else can. Look,
I've seen worse-paced films.
I have seen. I've watched Dune by David Lynch. I've seen that film.
That was bad.
They skipped so. I know that's the stereotype is they skipped so much in the movie, but they skipped too much, and then added things that didn't need to be. Anyway, you've heard our review for that if you watched this.
But apart from that, the pacing,
it was
like you said, it struggles early on, but even when it's struggling, there's cool stuff to keep you entertained. I don't have a lot to complain about on the pacing.
I'll give you an example of what you just said. They have to go talk to this woman or this person who is an arms dealer, and it's not enough for them to just walk up and talk to them. Christopher Nolan does a great job of making it interesting by having it be, hey, they are not allowed on the premises, so they have to basically bungee jump themselves up a building and then take out guards just to meet this person to get some information from them. It keeps it interesting. It keeps it tense because they're on a time watch. It's not they're not just sitting there and talking to this person. When he has to go talk to this one person about how the whole thing works. How does the inverse thing work? And then we get these really cool visuals showing the audience. Like it's almost like we're watching an educational video on how inverse works.
It kind of is, yeah.
But it's cool. It's interesting. It's stuff we haven't seen before. It's the stuff we saw in the trailer that we wanted to know more about. He has to go talk to this woman. Well, how does he meet her? Well, he has to bungee jump up a building. He has to go talk to this person in a restaurant. How does that end? He's in a fight scene in the kitchen. So it's not just him sitting and talking. It's even when he talked, even the most simple conversation he had was he sat down, talked to Robert Pattinson's character for the first time and said, hey, I need you for this or this.
Yeah,
and
I prefer.
Robert Pattinson's character Neil
soda
says,
water? And
he says, no, you don't. Yeah, Neil goes, yeah, I'll have this. A waiter comes up and Neil says, yeah, I want another one of these, and he'll have a Diet Coke, and he goes, I don't like Diet Coke. I prefer seltzer water. And he's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
And
you never drink on the job.
And he goes, wow, you've done your homework. And he's like, in our line, it helps to do so or something like that. But what we don't know is that Neil the whole time is actually working for a
Neil
future.
Has actually been friends with this guy for years.
An older version of him who hired him to go back in time and to inverse. And You'll learn it at the end of the film. But the whole point is, you know, what we think the first time through or at the beginning of the film is a kind of just boring scene that doesn't have to be. There's still clues and things planted in there. So
it's one of those movies where like the second watch is better.
The second watch is every time I've watched
Which I remember the second time we watched it, there was a question and we were both on opposing sides of this argument, and our second watch confirmed that I was right about it. It was the guy that he meets at the beginning. Yeah. In the opera house. I thought it was Neil, and you thought it was the protagonist.
I thought it was the protagonist,
But when you go back and rewatch it, you see the medallion on his bag that's on Neil's bag. So, yeah.
Although I still have a question about that. He was very clearly Neil in that scene, although we don't know it's Neil. His character is very, very clearly moving forward in time. Because when he saves John David Washington, he turns around and goes forward. Like his body is moving, his front of his body is moving forward, not backwards. So we know he's moving forward. Why did he use an inverse gun there? Why didn't he just use a regular gun?
Don't think about it.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of this film is don't think about it. Go back to the writing. You know, let's make that a 6.
I give the pacing. Shit, I don't know, man.
I was thinking 7 or 7.5.
I was gonna go 6.75.
What do you think?
6.5.
6.5. I was gonna say 7.5. We meet it.
Meet at 7?
7?
7, yeah.
Yeah, that seems fair to me.
Okay. So, one of my biggest things that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about with this film is our final subcategory, or final category, the editing.
Oh.
It's so fucking good, dude.
I don't know who edited this film. I don't know who did it. But God bless them.
Dude. To be able to cut those scenes together that are going different directions,
like the pincer maneuvers, to be able to edit that shit together, you've got to have talent
and the understanding of what's happening. I mean,
you got to know that film better than I think any editor has ever had to know a film.
And then on top of
that, to that guy.
And then on top of that, cutting it, or I don't know who it was, but and on top of that, cutting. Even the normal scenes where the crazy stuff that we're seeing that we're trying to comprehend, even the normal scenes were still cut well. They were cut very well. Even the action scenes that weren't inverted or not were still cut really well. Everything was cut well.
But the scenes that do have the temporal shit going on are just
out of this world.
On another level.
It's so good.
I mean, the editing... It's like you can't have this great editing without these amazing visuals, but these amazing visuals wouldn't work without this editing prowess.
Yeah.
If anybody else cuts this film, it's not going to be as good.
No.
I'd be willing to give the editing a 9.5.
I was gonna go 9.
9 also.
9, so 9.25.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And,
really good. Dude does a great job. I need to look it up. Let me look it up real quick, and we'll give that dude a named shout out.
While you're looking that up, I'm going to start calculating this together, and then we'll get right back to it.
Go ahead.
All right, dog. Give me the name on that.
So the editor for Tenet is named Jennifer Lame. Shouts out to Jennifer Lame. She did a fantastic job. I'm looking through her IMDb right now. She also edited Hereditary,
which we were just talking about.
Marriage Story, Manchester by the Sea.
Dude, she's accolades.
Yeah. She's got clout in the editing community.
What was her name? Jennifer
Lame.
Jennifer Lame.
Lame.
Let me Lame.
Lame.
Jennifer Lame. Let me tell you, you are phenomenal, and if no one else says it. I haven't heard much buzz talking about it because there hasn't been much buzz
as well.
There hasn't been much buzz about the Oscars this year because there hasn't been much this year, but they're still going to do it. I deeply, deeply hope, and I will be pulling for you to get it. If not just the nomination, but the win.
Yeah, like you at a minimum, at a bare minimum,
get that nom.
You deserve a nom. You did
crazy
great.
And we do have our score collectively. Yep. Usually it is just Luke and I, but we always try to include, if we have a guest, if they have seen it, we try to include them. We all watched it together, all three of us. Our review for Tenet is a collective 7.8.
7.8,
which is good, really good.
Yeah. A lot higher than most of the things really we've done. Mm-hmm. Pretty good. Mm-hmm. Definitely above average. Mm-hmm. I liked it a lot.
I think that it is a really good film.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, despite what we say about it, you really just got to go watch it for yourself.
You really got to watch it.
You're going to have your own opinion on it. It's almost, and in some ways, it's like, sometimes the visuals, it's like it blows my mind enough that it's like, when I'm watching, it's like one of those things when you're watching the film, when you're watching these amazing visuals and this fantastic editing cut together, you're like, oh, this is a 10 out of 10 during those moments. And then you get to these other moments, you're like, oh, this is like a 6 and a half. And then when you average, you're like, okay, I see. It's really good, really, really good. And you can't have these big epic moments if you don't have this exposition that he has to give us so we can get these moments. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. It's a 7.8. It's a really good film. You have to go watch it for yourself. And if you skip to the end of the video because you didn't want to be spoiled, don't forget to enter in to get
again, like and comment. We're gonna pick a winner 1 week after this video goes live. We'll pick a
week to
someone
try
at random
to go for it. Mm-hmm.
So we hope you enjoyed and theme song.
I've been feeling like I'm crazy. I've been feeling like I'm changed. Gotta pray to the Lord that he teach me to trust, cause this world's so dangerous. I'm hurt, let's face it. Screaming out but won't say shit. Been waiting on the sign, been waiting on my time, but it's all moderation. I've been aware of myself, cannot blame anyone else. I put myself on the cross, I used to hammer and nails. I read her lies like a book, but could not put her on the shelf. I might deserve all this bullshit, cause all I think about is self. But sometimes I feel like I'm not what I think I am. Sometimes I feel like I don't belong in my fam. Sometimes I feel like I'm better alone. Why do you smell like some niggas cologne? When the hell did you ever get so bold? Why does she not fuck with none of my songs? Karma is writing a nigga so wrong. How could God love a man without a soul? I think I'm losing control. I think that I am a joke. I admit that I am broke. I have been tempted to leave. I have considered the rope. Mostly because of these hoes. Mostly because of these hoes. I have been balancing lows. Don't ask me why do you smoke. Don't ask me why do you smoke. Don't ask me why do you smoke. I got nothing to lose, nigga. Always under the influence. Speaking my truth, nigga. But all of y'all been through it. All of y'all went through it. All you gotta have is one person that'll make you feel like you ain't worth shit. What you think is a blessing may be but a lesson. But a cold nigga still ain't learned shit. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Feel like snapping. Feel like snapping. What you happy? What you happy? Shit is tragic. Shit is tragic. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm a bastard. I'm a bastard. Need my daddy. Need my daddy. All these things on my mind, not my way, still my time. Shit is trash. I've been feeling like I'm crazy. We aborted that baby. Got hooked to the bush, got hooked to the kush. Now nigga getting lazy. I've been trying to be patient. Know I might not make it. Been so full of hatred. This ain't how my mom raised me. I've been ignoring the signs. I'm so afraid of the truth. God, I've been believing her lies. Feeling some pressure from you. God, you tell me let this shit go. That is something I can't do. God, but this is the life that I chose and I know I should listen to you. I got too much bullshit on my plate. I got too much to bear. I need someone to pray. I need a Sunday when you take communion. I need my God to show me he can do it. I need that Lambo and not this so Buick. I need a check so large that when I catch it, that shit look unruly. But no one connects to my music. I'm so upset I look foolish. I met a girl that I love. I met a girl that's been hurt. She steady hit me with curse. I tried to make this shit work. Now I'm the one feeling hurt. I got too much on my chest. I'm not alive, I feel dead. Voices is all in my head. Hit up my mom, she said that she blessed. But I know I'm the key to all her stress. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Feel like snapping. Feel like snapping. What you happy? What you happy? Shit is tragic. Shit is tragic. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm a bastard. I'm a bastard. Need my daddy. Need my daddy. All these things on my mind, not my way, still my time. Shit is tragic. Shit is tragic. Shit is tragic. shit is tragic. All these things on my mind, that my way, still my time, shit is tragic.
I want to start off this message just like I did last week. I want to say to anybody who suffers from depression, who's been diagnosed with depression, that we recognize there are a lot of reasons, different types of depression. Some people are depressed because their bodies have a chemical imbalance, and so medication is used to bring that imbalance back to a balanced status. If you are on medications, do not walk out of here after hearing this dynamic message and say you don't need to take your medicine no more. Please stay on your medicine. Turn to your neighbor and say, please stay on your medicine.